and it's like seconds over, so I don't want to give too much time to the boys. I know they'll be having fun. We'll try to get a new poll up, maybe talking about what names, individual names, you like from maybe like lunchtime till the close. So we'll have something figured out by the time we come back with the lesson. We can put up to 10 names in that poll.
Yeah.
Although I think that could be overkill. Maybe 6 or 7 would make some sense. For now, we'll be back at 2. We got Joey options. We got the professor, some small caps, some options talk as well. And of course, we'll always have a Dare on the news. So we'll see you guys in a couple hours. Peace.
Boom. Boom. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. This guy right here, we all know who he is. Big smile, ear to ear, Joey freaking options. I'm Sharif. Let's say hello to everybody today. We always got the OG Darwin first. He's always dancing up a storm, doing the disco fever. Shout out to Andrew Chow, Damien. We got Britt. We got Wendy's Tendies. We got Stockhead. Shout out to Showtime, VB, and Ronaldo. Mike PD, right up. We got Tariq Miha, Clinton, or Clint, I should say, Hamilton, Emilium, Christmas, Capote. We got Danny Patel. Shout out to Simply Laura, Byron Hart joining us, as well as Zamora, Jacques, the OG, QBs, Mo, and John, Vaughn, Sunders, otherwise known as the most polite individual in the chat. He's always thanking us for looking at our charts.
JBS.
And we got somebody at A Day Trading. I am here, Luis freaking Barbado. Hopefully he's on later. We should be on at 1. He's going to be taking us through.
Is he on? Oh, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, baby.
Beautiful.
He's going to be taking us through that. I'm super pumped. Shout out to Luis. We got T-Money. How about Dashin? Shout out to Buffalo Soldier and Chris Onion. Random Brantley. What's up? Right back at you, baby. Mary Smith and Looney. Well, let's a couple of more here. 2 Rich Granny 007 and Big 40 Nephew. Good morning to everybody. Hey, Joey. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank Sean and Neil for making sure that they don't go too much over into our time slot, and we'll be sure. and we'll be sure to reciprocate.
Joe, I've got you. I just want to let everybody know, Joe. We had
to reciprocate the same nature in the same manners.
We did have a meeting. Joe had mentioned that he wants to make sure that at 11 o'clock we try to throw it over as soon as possible, and that if allowed, we would let him go a little bit over 2 o'clock if he does want to do it. He wants to be a little bit more, a little bit more of Joe.
That's very generous.
And we agreed. So, Joe, man, congratulations, man. The show is now on you. And look, we're giving the people what they want at the end of the day.
Love it,
the midday show is a fantastic show. So shout out to you guys and Joe, man. It's honestly, it's our pleasure, my
Katina,
guy.
man. Have you taken a look at Marvell today, brother?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're loving Marvell, and I was saying that I really think that it does have a 120 handle on it. I mean, I love the Broadcom pick as well. When you made the Broadcom pick, I was like, yeah, me and you, I think we're aligning on the A6 and the custom there, the photo, the optical, photonics, everything like that.
Good,
so
Katina, man.
yeah, man, I'm a big fan of that Marvell play. Just need Big Berry Eye to get going there. The shot play not well, and neither is Eli Lilly. So I mean, I'm glad Marvell's working out so far. But that's the one tech play that I'm still really loving. NVIDIA, but it's more about Marvell. Look, I mean, I'm getting in my ear right now that Joe wants it. And no, just so you know, I don't have anything in my ear. So that is 1,000%. As the young guys say, and Sharif, that's cap. So, all right, right back over to the midday, and as you can see, we're having some fun.
Appreciate you, Katina, man. All right, what are you looking at, Joey?
Yeah, you know what, guys, this morning I was working on a couple of things, so not much going on here. We have an IBIT short currently on. There is a key support level that I'm looking to be breached. The momentum is starting to slowly pick up lower. This might be a channel to the downside, but I'm looking for this 40-30 level to break. I'm in at the exact same price as Neil, 40-43s, okay? So let's see if that support level is going to breach, and if it comes back to the top end of the range and breaks through the volume-weighted average price, we'll get out of that, and then maybe we'll be fortunate enough to get a better price. Also, moving forward, all right? So that's our thesis here on IBIT, slightly in the money, nothing substantial. I wouldn't mind adding some more shares to this as well. I should have at 48, but that's fine, we didn't. That shoulda, coulda, woulda. Now, moving forward, we've been sitting in this TSLA. for quite some time now. And if it breaks VWAP, then we'll just get out. No issues. But I have double the amount of size on this trade than what I do have on the short. So relatively flat on this one. Breach of this, we're in at 71s. We're out at 61s. It's that simple. 10 cents. We're going to look for 20. We were almost at a 1-to-1, but it keeps running into this resistance zone. And that's going to correlate with the actual underlying asset to $395. Now we're starting to turn over here a little bit, guys, so it's not looking too good for the Tesla long just yet, but I have no issues with re-engaging on this trade for a potential better entry, all right? So we'll take a look at the supply zone because I have it here on TSLL, right at that 395 mark, 5,000. Even though it's not a bunch, it's just we're running into it, and it's not a coincidence whatsoever that we continuously knock on that door and then we continuously reject it, okay? So keep an eye out on that. So that's what I have on my eyes today. NVIDIA relatively strong up to 181. The NASDAQ always in my peripheral. And sure enough, Tesla, IBIT, that's what we got cooking today.
All right, thank you from the individual, I can't see the name there, the Litz Bar on TikTok. Thank you very much. Says, what do y'all think of the VCX fund? We'll get to that in a second, but for now, I'm keeping an eye here on UGRO, and there it goes into the high of the day, glancing at $12. It's an 1190 high. It's zigging, it's zagging. I perceive general area support at $11, okay? You got a couple of bottoming tail candles that all breach it. Now, whether or not we retrace the whole move from essentially 1190 down into 11 again, I don't think so. I think maybe if we're gonna continue, that is, maybe we reverse here. If we continue, we should be retracing about maybe 50 to 60, let's just say 50 to 60% of the move. So I'm looking for money fills at around the 40s to 50s. Let's allow the price action to develop. On the one, it seems as if there is a buyer generally at 50 pennies on the 1 minute chart. When I say on the 1, on the 5, on the 15 for the newer viewers, that's typically what I mean. Here it comes. So if we're gonna put it at a stop, we gotta put it below prior bar low, which takes us down to 1078. So we're gonna go 1077. All right, we're gonna keep an eye out on this one. I wanna see if oh, here it comes. All right, nice. Into that 11 1/3, let's get long. All right, so we're gonna get out 1077 if it loses a bid. So let's go ahead and throw that on there. What do we get, Joey? We got 37s. Okay, so let's put in, I'm gonna show you guys my risk calculator that I updated in a second, but I just want to use it here. So 1R for me, 1197, 2R, 1257, 3R, 1317. First and foremost, this has got to hold up prior bar low. If it loses prior bar low, I'm out. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Looking for the move here. Let's try to see if we can wet the beak in and around that $12 area, since 1197 is 1R for me. Let's go ahead and throw an order there. I'm going to go for that many. And we're gonna set the order out. I'm gonna go 1188, okay? Because I like that number. So, oh no, I just got more long. That's okay. I actually like this entry. So let's go for that many shares, and we'll go 1188. I want to share with you guys my risk calculator in a second. I've made some good updates on this one. First of all, you can have multiple tabs now, so you can watch multiple stocks. So it's not just one. Okay, we have to go to Adara immediately.
Right.
LYFT is popping here, guys. I want to let you know, Lyft on watch, launching a 60-day driver relief program to help offset some fuel cost concerns at the pump. That'll start on March 27th. It'll end on May 26th. So it'll be exactly 60 days, more or less, that 2-month period that's announced on Lyft's blog. So again, LYFT is moving around a little bit here after announcing the 60-day driver relief program at the pump.
Thank you very much, Adara. All right, keeping an eye here on UGRO. There it goes back into the $0.50. We wet the beak ever so lightly. There's 60. Looking for continuation now into 77s. We're wetting the beak ever so lightly, keeping the majority of the shares for 1R at least here. Now, if it clears 12, I'm adding. okay? That's if it's got the juice to take out the 12 seller. Currently, it's an 1190 seller. It's up 64%. It's looking good. I'd ideally like it to hold above the $0.5 to continue to show me that the buyers are stepping in and around this area. 60 seller, we can't shake the 60 seller at the moment. There it is, into the high 60s we go. Good look, canceling that order, moving the rest up a little bit more now. We're looking for a bigger move here. Let's go 1177 for a sell. Down below the $0.5 we go. So now we open up a new 5-minute candle. So now I got to keep my eye out. Prior bar low. Prior bar low takes us down to 1112. So we've got a new candle here, the 1110 candle on the 5, and the previous 1105 candle has a low of 1112. I am concerned that this one loses trend. So likely will be moving up my stop to prior bar low. Let's see if this one continues to hold up. We've got 35s. We're essentially in the money by a couple of pennies. Nothing to write home about. Taking a little bit off, but saving the majority for the bigger move up. There are other ones that I'm watching as well, guys. I will get to them in a second. There's a couple of good ones. A lot of them are space, like SIDU and LUNR. But for the moment, we're going to keep an eye here on UGRO. Joey, what do you got?
Good look there. We're going to head over to the TikTok soon and see to the TikTok. That's crazy.
That's funny.
that ages me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, a good one here today, guys. IBIT. This one's definitely, yeah, I know. That's insane. IBIT, this one's working for us. Neil and I essentially 1 penny apart from entries. I would like to add a little bit more. I mentioned that I have half the size on this trade that I do have on TSLL, but I mean, we have approximately hit the lows of 18s. I'm going to try to diamond hand this until 40s, but I have to keep an eye on some of the VPA signals and the lower time frames just in case it displays that, hey, we're not ready to head a little bit lower. And then sure enough, but I do like what we got going on. Increase in volume. This just looks like somewhat of a breath before we can take an initial leg lower. Regardless if it takes a bit of time, we're going to be sitting in this one because it is working for us. And then hopefully there could be an ad opportunity as well too. Now, Bravely, thank you for posting this here in the chat. What do y'all think about VCX fund? I bought 7 shares. Let's take a look. I'm not too familiar with it.
I think it was the IPO that Casey was trading.
Was that the IPO?
Like from, I don't know, $15 to like 60. I could be wrong.
Oh, was that the one?
I'm pretty sure.
And Benner was on that one.
There was like no volume though on that.
That was the one Benner was on too, I think.
Benner was on that?
I think
what
so.
An animal, bro.
Because remember when you told me he hit that monster?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one? I don't know if it is though. Fundrise Innovation Fund. Let's pull up the technicals and see what we got going on.
See when it started trading, because if it was IPO.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll head over to our watch list, VCX, and we'll pull that bad boy up right here. VCX. Nice little breakdown here. An additional leg lower in Bitcoin as we look at this. 512. That's a pretty good move, if you ask me. We'll head over to the daily. Yeah, so it did start trading not too long ago, Sharif, on the 19th. So we only have a couple trading sessions here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this being the 5th one. That's a big time move. That's crazy. Okay, 1,800%. You're in from 289, so that's a quick double up for you essentially right there. Not too bad. Just be cautious because if we go through some of the IPOs of 2025, whether it be Circle, CoreWeave, Figma, give me another one there that were pretty hot out of the gates, they tend to cool down. And I'm not saying that's necessarily going to be the case here, but don't forget what our old friend Jim Cramer says: bulls and bears can eat, but hogs or pigs get slaughtered.
Oh.
And I think that's just the narrative. Nothing wrong with leaving a little bit of a runner. Again, I think that's what the majority of traders would do. Now, moving forward, experienced anyways. So IBIT now down to 40.15. We haven't pieced anything off right now. We're going to try to wait until 40.05s before we do, and I think we'll have the ability to reach that target. It might fill a gap here. It could head us south to $40, and if I hold the full size, then that's going to be really good for us. We took the stop out on TSLL, and if we head into 40, that's going to be double the amount, almost triple of what I lost on this specific trade. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on there. 40.10, Sharif, a clean flush to the downside. Give your boy 10 more cents. That's all we need But sometimes when you're like, hey, just give me that, that's all I need, the market, as I typically say, hears you and then says, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, man, the market, father market.
Yeah, father market.
Let's keep an eye out on UGRO, added on the dip into 11, looking for a move back up a $0.50. We've got 30s now. Nothing really to write home about. Let's spot where their sellers are. Seller coming in at 40. Okay, so let's see if number one, that's going to be our first area of resistance that we got to shake the seller at around 39.40. Now the selling's coming in at 39. Previously was 40. Looking for, okay, new candle just opened up on the 5 now. This could reset things. Continuing to watch. Selling now in the high 30s. There's that 40 seller again. Can't shake the 40 seller. So there's a big seller at $11.40 locally that we're going to have to shake, and so far that has not happened. So we're going to pack the patience here. My stop goes the exact same place, but by the way, we've got a 3-candle pullback so far because this 11.15 candle is also red, right? So we have a red candle on the 11.05, we have another red candle at 11.40, and now we've got another red candle for the 11.15. However, all those candles, save and except for the one that we just opened on the 5, have bottoming tails. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to rock it up. It just means that people are buying at these levels. Not enough, though, for the moment to shake the sellers here, at least in the 40s. So continuing to watch. Let's see what we get on UGRO. Again, I've got other ones to cover, but I just want to resolve this trade first before I start pontificating about some of these other ones. But just to give you an idea, we're keeping an eye on RMSG, which is failing below VWAP. I'm keeping an eye on PAYS, P-A-Y-S. Also, here's that 40 seller again. Let me just watch here. Boom. Into 48. Good. We got the fill. Looking for continuation now above the $0.50. There's no continuation. There's a seller at 40. So let's see what we can get here. Let's put something in the 60s. Still very interested in holding the majority of the position into the $12 area. We still haven't breached prior bar high. So we have a higher low on the current 5-minute candle, but prior bar high comes vis-a-vis a breach of 1160. But down we go again into the 40s. So more consolidation or more pullbacks off that $12, essentially $12 high, 1190. So to breach prior bar high, as I mentioned, we got to get above 1160s. There it goes into 55, but we still have no breach. 58, 60, 65. Let's go. I'm waiting at 69. Let's go. Take it out here.
Okay.
Cancel, cancel. Boom.
Cancel.
All right. Nice. Into 1180. Here we go again. All right. Big move. Big move. Let's go. We're looking for the bigger move here now, Joey. There is the high 80s. We're taking it out here. We're still holding some, and bang. All right, UGRO, let's go. Breaching prior bar high. Looking for the move above 12. Selling into the low 80s, mid 80s now. Looking for a 90s. We're not getting 90s quite yet. There is 90. Boom. Into that. No, we don't get the fill.
Big downtick in the market here, guys. NASDAQ, tank. Tesla, tank city. NVIDIA heading right back towards the volume-weighted average price.
Bashir nuclear power plant has been hit once more, according to Press TV.
There you go.
There it goes, Joey, through 12, and that's the trade. Boom.
Oh.
Boom. On UGRO. We're doing it. We're doing it live. There's the high of the day on UGRO, clearing the levels. Boom, boom, and boom.
Did you see, was it Hegseth the other day who said we negotiate with bombs?
Yeah, well, they're bombing the nuclear power plant or whatever. We're going to, Dara needs to talk about it. Yeah.
Let's go, Dara.
Yeah, I'll just give you guys the headline here again. So Press TV reporting, this is an Iranian news source as far as I've been made aware here, is reporting that Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant has been struck again. So that's happening here. That's why we got that drop in the market, this push higher here in USO.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Yeah, that's obviously not good. It's being reported by some Press TV. I've never heard of Press TV. You guys can do a quick Google search there, find out what's good with them. There it goes again, Joey, into another high of day. 67s showing up here on UGRO. 13 is coming up. Lucky number 13. Anytime anybody tells me 13 is not a lucky number, I say my mommy is born on the 13th. And then people can't say anything back because they can't talk smack about your mom, right? Otherwise, you throw hands.
Tell me, man. I asked the guy who mentioned my grandma the other day. What was I about to say? That some Asian countries believe that 13 is a lucky number.
Actually, I didn't know that. I thought it was 8. Asians love 8. I thought it was the Chinese at like 13. There's no 4 in my building.
I may be wrong. There's no 4. There's a 13.
No 4 in my building. Well, there's not. It's not.
You know
high
what
enough.
they tried? No. No, my lucky number is 13. You know what they tried telling me when I was selling my condo? Because I had unit 1304. They're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, with the unit, they don't really like that.
I got parking space number 13.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I removed it.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
My dad
like that,
made me remove it. He's like, take it off.
So you were a part of my problem at that.
And they came and they chalked over it and I did it again.
That's crazy.
And they're like, no, we're not gonna do that again. Anyway, guys, this one is really continuing to go, man. The trade is on. There it goes. Joseph freaking Wilson into 13.29. Watch out for selling at 13, topping tail. But the move is on here and on UGRO, and I could not be more pleased that we added into this position. Bottoming tails into 11 showed me the buyers were stepping in. We took advantage of that on that little dip, and then boom, went the freaking dynamite. Trade's not over. Limit up, guys, 13.51. That would necessitate a high of day breach. So keep your eye out on that. Yeah, Ichiro, lots of old high rises skip the 13th. Yes, I absolutely know it.
Yeah,
man.
A lot of them did back in the day.
Yeah, they did. I remember.
I was like, why don't we just stick with that narrative?
I don't know. I guess people kind of got over it. Shout out to my man, Adam Deluge Sharif. I think the muscles as well have to say, you know what, brother? I don't think the people at my building really care, to be quite honest with you, because I get all sorts of disrespect from the dinosaurs in my building. I know that they don't mean it for me. They're just temperamental and angry in general. I see the way that they deal with themselves. They like to live there, spend, 23, 22 hours a day there and enforce the rules that make no sense, which they created, of course. I digress.
At your condo?
Yeah, they're great, bro. They're great. Because it's a low rise,
You know what
right?
Katina Man told me? That you're not allowed to play with like basketballs and soccer balls at recess anymore?
I've been hearing things like that.
So you want to just throw our kids in a bubble at this point?
What's the motivation behind that?
I have no idea. Well, I guess kids get hurt. But I mean, what are we going to do? Protect everyone?
You should have seen us growing up, man. We were playing tackle football.
You weren't safe.
You weren't safe.
I'm telling you, at recess, you were not safe.
What the hell?
All right, guys.
What happened, Ram?
What happened, Ram?
I live in a seniors community. I really don't black sheep trade. There just is a lot of old people in my building. I don't know why.
Yeah. All right, guys. Nice move there on IBIT. I did take some off at 05s, but we did end up getting that $40 mark. Now we're starting to pull back a little bit here. So that was a nice trade and just holding on to that target. Eddie Stock, you are right, brother. And moments later, as soon as we got that additional flush later, I'm like, what am I going to do? Trip over a couple pennies and wait for it for potentially? And sure enough, bounce right off of that 40. So I did take the majority of it off right here. Now I'm sitting on about 15 to 20% of the remaining position. And I'm willing to add on this for sure, just in case we do get a curl over and the momentum continues to the downside. Hammer candle at the volume weighted average price on NVIDIA. Take a look at that there, Gaurav. I see what you're saying. So let's pull up silver on the 1 minute and see what we got going on in that name, SLV. Oh my Lanta.
Oh my days.
Oh, why did you got to tell me that earlier, brother? Really good print there on that one. And is it reflecting on the 5 minute? Absolutely. So there might be a good opportunity to get involved in silver one more time. Pull back here. If we hold that $65 mark, you can see that isolated volume print. It's going to be the third largest on the intraday session. And then you can see from a 1 minute standpoint as well, too, guys, that that's going to be the largest since approximately 10 o'clock this morning. So an hour and a half. That's some good stopping volume right there, if you ask me. You want to risk the break of that, of the low of that candle, so give yourself a little bit of room. That's also going to put you towards some key support levels, so that just gives you even more conviction to get out if you need to. But also, what I'm going to do and be patient. I don't know if you're involved in it just yet, Gore, but I'll wait for this pullback here. If we reject the VWAP, start to base out and then climb higher, I'm going to get involved in some SLV. Beautiful call out. That's exactly what I want to see. And then we're most definitely going to add here on this IBIT trade. I got to see how much I have left. Okay, so yeah, about 30%, so a little less, probably about 25 to 30% here on this IBIT trade. Gonna look to add, maybe we double it up, go back to original size, and then maybe we can get the break in the hold of that $40 mark. But eyes on silver. Let me get Tesla off of my side chart, and let's put up this silver, because it's looking real good, silver and gold, and that's what we want. Pullback, we're involved in it. Other than that, guys, if there's anything you want to go over, please put it in the chat. I'm going to take a look at the options chain on silver before we send it back over to Sharif to see if there's going to be anything overhead that we might run into via resistance. Nothing. This is exactly what we want to see. Not very much supply. Oh, we want to go over to another expiration. Not much going on over there. I like that. I think the long can be continued. So now it's just to be patient and wait for a prime time entry.
Guys, UGRO is just rocketing, man. Unbelievable. 1406 high. It's cleared 13. It's now doing the dance at around 1350. What a move up. So I want to show you guys here my new risk calculator. So look how I have different tabs. So let's just go to the UGRO tab, right? So all you do, you type in the ticker. It pulls the live data for UGRO. You enter how much you want to risk in the second tab there. And then you put your stop loss. I just put my stop loss when I was trading was 1077. It updates the price, and then it shows you how many shares you should be getting in based on the price, based on how much you want to risk, and where your stop loss is going. But look how at the bottom, look at the 1R, 2R, 3R, they're all moving, right? But what if you're in a position? So say, for example, I got in at, let's see where it is right now, at, let's say, 1290. So at 1290, that's my price. I no longer wanted to base the 1R, 2R, and 3R on the live data, but on fixed data. So then I enter in what I got in at, and then it tells me exactly what my targets are so that I don't need to, keep referring back to it. So then that's the first update that I've made. The second update is you can add multiple tabs. So for example, let's look at SIDU. So you hit add ticker on the bottom, and then you just type in SIDU. You say you want to risk $100 on the trade. SIDU's trading at 278 right now. So say I want to get out below the $0.75 of a dollar, 274. Boom, it shows me. You need to punch in at about 2,800 shares. Your stop is $2.74. And then now we can kind of get the fix. So we got in, say, 278, right? So now I know exactly what my 1R, my 2R, my 3R based on my share price. And the cool thing is, when you flip back from these, it remembers all your entries. So it doesn't reset. So what I was having trouble with was when I was trading multiple names yesterday, I would forget what my 1R, 2R, 3R was because I was having to reset that. So I kind of made some additions on this. Version 3.7, it wrote up there. That gives you an idea how many versions we've been through. But it's working like a dream, man. It's not laggy, and it really does help you organize your risk per trade as well as your reward per trade. But there goes UGRO again through $14. Still hasn't breached $14.21. That is a current candle high on the 5, but the trend is very much intact. It is holding higher lows. This is turning into a bit of a topping tail, though. Be on the lookout here. We still haven't breached, obviously, prior bar low, but what a move down. So let me see. Limit down, 1223. Limit down is 1223. We just touched about, I think we got into 4/5 of a dollar to 1289. So not quite there, but that is a bit of an aggressive candle now on UGRO. Could be coming down possibly into 12.5, 12 if it breaches prior bar low, which is $12.32. Assuming it doesn't get halted on the way, I'm looking for a possible re-entry at around 12. I saw a lot of consolidation at $12. Moreover, the 10 EMA on the 5 is now showing 1170s or so. So this is all predicated upon it losing all that. So UGRO, definitely the best looker in the market right now. We're going to see if we can execute on this monster again. But here's what else I'm looking at. For those who don't like taking these longs, I know you're there, Luis. Luis, if you're there, brother, I want your opinion on RMSG. This is looking like a flat bottom break ready to happen over here. Oh no, this is happening right in front of my very eyes. Look at this, 66 pennies. It is losing it in a hurry, down into 64 in a 5th. RMSG lost. VWAP, it's an obvious downtrend here, but there was a buyer at around high 65s, low 66s. I think that they got shellacked. This is probably heading back to 60. We'll see. RMSG, you probably need locates on this, but not a bad look anyway. Val, the chart gal, where did you take the live data? Great question. I'm just using Yahoo, okay? So it's free. Now, one of the traders in the algo room told me that if I use it a bit too much, they're going to ban me. But I'm only using it for 3 hours a day, so I don't think that, you know, I'm excessively using it. Backup plan, though, is the platform you see behind, which is my platform, IB. I can actually connect the data from my personal platform into this risk calculator. I just have to have Trader Workstation running in the background, which I do. So that's plan B. If for whatever reason Yahoo cuts off the data, it's a quick, you know, just adjustment. But this has really helped me, especially on a prop floor. So anybody who's trading with the campus program and you guys want this, I can make it available to you directly, obviously, because you're with the company. For our viewers, this is going to be part of kind of the I don't know what we're calling it, YouTube Premium or whatever, premium subscription. I'm going to make it packageable and deployable on any computer. Right now, it's fixed to my computer because Python has to be installed in certain locations, but we're going to make it a package, and then anybody should be able to use it there. So super, super excited about this, and I think it's definitely helped me, and I hope it helps everybody else, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, I like that you brought that up. I haven't heard that term in a long time, or people using it in quite some time. Let me know if you guys actually use footprint charts. I mean, they're common. I found a couple years ago a lot of people were using them, but I haven't really talked about them or looked at them in quite some time. Let me know if you guys like using footprint charts. I enter a trade without using 5 seconds. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Adara.
This crypto update should hopefully be a fun one, or at least I had fun putting it together for you guys. So, of course, let us know you think. I really want to take time to go over this hearing that's happening right now in the U.S., specifically with the Financial Services Committee. That is currently going on. It started just a little bit after 10 a.m., and they are talking about tokenization. The hearing's actually called Tokenization in the Future of Securities, Modernizing Our Capital Markets. So let's take a look at the people who are appearing at this hearing, because I do think there's some pretty notable names here, or at least notable groups being represented. The Honorable Kenneth Benson Jr., who's the president and CEO of SIFMA. Then you've got Summer Merzinger, who is formerly involved with the CFTC, currently CEO of the Blockchain Association. Next up, you've got, this is his actual headshot here, Christian Sabella, who's the Managing Director and Deputy General Counsel of DTCC. And then you have, maybe from a market perspective, the most interesting name here, John Zecca. He is the Executive VP and Global Chief of Legal, Risk, and Regulatory Officer here. He's with the NASDAQ. So you do have a NASDAQ representative at this hearing, which is, again, still ongoing. Last but not least, you've got Salman Banai, who is the general counsel at Plume Network. They work with Ethereum, based on what he said during his opening remarks. So in terms of market moving info from this hearing, there hasn't really been a lot, though. Again, it does have a lot to do with tokenizing securities. So it's going to be a topic, I think, to keep an eye on. And of course, if anything market related or moving is said, I'll keep you posted. The only thing that was kind of interesting here was Representative Maxine Waters saying, or bringing up the issues here potentially with World Liberty Financial and some conflict of interests therein. Let's talk about Bitcoin, though. 72,000 continues to be that sticking point for BTC. We actually broke above it early today. It looks like high just above 72K, pulling back right now to that. Right now, around 71,000, low of day, just above 70K. So let's see if we stay above 70K for the rest of the session for BTC. Back to you.
Joey, UGRO has higher lows. Here we go. So prior bar low, I'm talking about the 1125 candle, 1289. Current bar low, 1309. So for the current bar, 13 is being defended, and we're awfully close to maneuvering above 14. Here it comes again. We're, high to mid 90s. There's 14. Limit up is 14. I thought 79. 1479. Limit up. High of day 1421. We can't shake the sellers in and around 14, or can we? We're moving past them here, and there it goes into another high of day 1479. So it just touched the halt band, but it didn't spend any time there. Let's see if it works back up. It's above the $0.50. This thing is really going. Wow, this one is strong, Joey. 65, huge seller. 65, 68 now seller. A halt band has changed. It's no longer 79. I can't see it. It's 15 something. So can't quite see it yet. Has to show up on my level 2. Just 1517 halt up. So in case you're looking at my screen and you see that red rectangle on the left and on the right, so the one on the left is on the bid. That's limit down. The one on the right, always a red rectangle. Those will be limit up and limit down. So if I'm showing the level 2 and you want to have an idea what it is, you can have it. You can take a gander there. 1517 UGRO. This is really strong. This is a really strong one, man, and it looks like it's headed to 15. If this clears 15, we're going to 20. Okay. That's my bias. So I'm going to continue to watch here what kind of strength we have at 15. If we can clear 15 decisively, Joey, this is going to squeeze. It looks like it's catching a lot of people offside. We were involved in this thing.
It's at $8
dude, I was in this thing at like low 11s. It's now on border with 15, so very, very strong. I just want to mention one quick thing as well. Sarepta, SRPT. It's not UGRO. It's not, crazy halt status type thing. But look at this stair-stepping of structure. I think Obi would say this is holding structure. And I definitely think it is. Look at this. Clear area of resistance at 22. Beats it. 2267 comes down. Tests 22, and here we are again on the verge of taking out prior area high. Most notably as well, you also saw the holding of structure initially, 855 breakout candle, bull flag on light volume. We consolidate. We generally hold 19, I want to say 19 3/4, and then that's the 930 candle. Boom, bull flag number 2. So you've had 1, 2 bull flags. This doesn't seem like a bull flag to me. It's an upward channel, and I would trade it as such until it breaks out from said channel, and then you could look at it as a breakout trade. But SRPT should be in focus for you if you're small cap gapper inclined. SIDU is losing the bid, and losing the bid in a hurry. When Neil comes back, I'm going to get some shorts here on the do, especially if it comes in at 285, rejects that 285, which is the volume weighted average price, and then I'll be looking for a loss of 275. To me, that'll be a flat bottom break, as you've had 1, 2, 3, 4 candles defend that level, and a critical area of resistance, here's support showing itself. So I'm going to be interested in going short, Luis, on SIDU. There goes UGRO into another high a day, man. 1541. The breakout is on here. Unbelievable. If we can hold above 15, I'm going to get back into this for a squeeze in at 20. Adair.
Here on USO, we've had some interesting headlines over the last couple of minutes being reported by Al Jazeera, citing U.S. Central Command and or the Department of Defense, saying that apparently they're going to be sending out roughly 1,000 soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Unit. Now, we initially heard they're going to be sending 3,000, but either way, much like the reports we heard yesterday, these soldiers are expected to arrive in the Middle East by the end of this week. Furthermore, they're also telling Al Jazeera that their forces are, quote, striking targets to weaken the Iranian regime's infrastructure and military capabilities. So things we already knew, just being re-reported here over the last couple of minutes. So I wanted to provide an update. Back to you.
Trying to find out the short float or whatever we can. UGRO short float. Hurry up, Perplexity. We don't have a lot of time. Let's go. Okay, 5 to 6% on recent data, with some sources showing closer to 9 to 10% short float. That's one data point. The other data point I want to bring your attention to is as of February 9th of this year, the float on UGRO is 663,000 shares. It is sub 1 million, and that also has a part to play in the parabolic effect that we're having. So I don't want to say it's a high short float, especially with conflicting data. Some saying 5 to 6, others saying 9 to 10. But what isn't conflicting is that is another high of day. 1588. Man. The squeeze is on. Joey, I got to figure out a way to get into this, man.
Yeah,
all right,
I know. I was about to punch and pray on this one here. I want to add on to this because I think that we're going to get a little bit of a curl over. Oh, I'm on the 10-minute. That's why. What a donkey. Essentially here.
Unreal.
Boom. It's still going, eh? Yeah, you just, at this point, Trif, yeah, I'm going to do this because this is really squeezing.
1614 halt level.
There we go.
1614.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm instant out of the money on that one. So as soon as your boy hops in, but let's see. I think we can punch a little bit higher. I'm not in much size on this name, but let's see if it can continue to go.
Go,
right?
Joey.
Like, I'll give it $1.
Get it, bro.
I'll give it $1. I don't really care about that right now because what we got going on here on IBIT is good. So I'm in this UGRO. If it's squeezing, nice strong price action. Let's give it $1. See if we can make $1. All right. Again, not too much going on. What are you in it too?
No, I'm about to. I was about to punch.
Oh, there it goes, baby.
My man, 1667 halt level.
Yeah, let's go, man. Get that. Give us that halt ban, that Rex banner right there, and see if we can get that move. No, but again, I was looking at it at 14, Sharif, when you had it up there, but I think just due to the momentum and the volume really stepping in, I have no issues with buying this high and it climbing a little bit higher, especially if it's going to squeeze. If I get caught in a pullback, then I'll continuously monitor what we got going on, but it did run up to 1650s there, so not too bad of a look. I don't have very much, right? Like, so whatever I have, I gained back from the IBIT trade and the loss on Tesla. I just risked that right now. So nothing crazy. Let's see if we can get that pop up into 16. We're in at 09s. I think at this point we can, but we want to keep our eyes out on the tape. There it goes, printing 20s. That's pretty good. Some clean flushes there. This bad boy is squeezing. Sometimes you got to buy high and sell a little bit higher, Sharif, and hopefully that's going to be the narrative on this specific name. I don't typically trade these, but we want to get in on some of this action. You're in it too now, my boy, at 24.
We just got.
You're out already? Come on, dive hands down, my boy.
Bro, I was taking a scalp. Unreal strength on this, Joey.
You Devin Haney that. I'm over here, Deontay Wilder at this one. No, but that could chew me up because that was a good scalp on it. You got out relatively quick.
I wanted 16. I risked like pennies on that.
I don't think we get up into 17 right now, considering we're starting to pull back. So the volume is starting to really, see, look at that clean flush right there. So good call on that scalp. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself and celebrate too early because we got up into 63s, and sure enough, look at it really start to sell off here. I'm going to give it $1. I'm out at 1509.
Joey.
Yeah, I'm out at 1509.
1440 prior bar low.
That's it.
There's a couple of resistance levels. Sorry, support levels. 15.
I'm out.
Watch for the hold, general hold. We're not talking about a strict hold. Watch for a general hold at 15. If it loses prior bar low at 1440, we're probably going to 13, maybe 12. Okay, it hasn't lost prior bar low yet. Again, that's $14.40. Current bar low, $14.80. We're still holding trend. Even though the madness is what it is, it's zigging, it's zagging, but we still have not lost trend. People got to take profits.
It just dropped $1.40 in the span of a couple seconds.
It does, yeah. That's
you know what I mean?
The insanity of it.
So. Yeah, I mean, XYZ, do what you want to do. No one's here telling you to punch keys or anything like that. I hope that you didn't go long IBIT when I was going short there, my boy, considering you are the king. But, I mean, you got to get out. I was just saying, I don't typically trade these, right? Like, here it is on IBIT, a nice move, 40 cents just like that. I was just looking to join the momentum. Was it a chase? Absolutely. But that was fun. A little rock and rolling. You put a little money where your mouth is, essentially, on that one. And then, sure enough, you see if you get it. If it continues to squeeze, then guess what? You get to party a little bit. Other than that,
it lost prior bar low.
Yeah, it's down to 14. It's really going to take. Let's see how it acts around $14. But XYZ, man, do your thing, do your own thing, and make sure you punch your own keys. Don't worry necessarily what everybody else is doing. All right. So here it is, IBIT. We might have missed the reload on that one. Totally fine. I'm not worried about it whatsoever. Because if we had come back and test this low of the day, we still have 30% left of our position, all right? So I'm going to rock and roll on this one. I think it's going to take a little bit more time for it to curl over, and that's better for me. Consolidate and then get that slow turtle shell type price action and add some more to the position. So we're still sitting in that one, and that's exactly what we want. It's right back up. I mean, it flushes down 50 cents, now back up another 50 cents. So that's a really aggressive pullback. I think at some point you can catch a momentum bounce. Exactly. Yeah, tell him KT. Tell him KT. But no, other than that, guys, I highly doubt that this thing is optionable. But let's pull up and see if we got anything. UGRO. Because search company by name. Yeah, it doesn't even. Yeah, it won't even pull it. Urban Grow. Yeah, it won't. It's not even. It's not even optionable. It's not even optionable. Yeah, slow motion, Joe. Thanks for that one there, brother. Short and AMD out. Mainly House Sharif. Do you guys think it's better trading these leverage ETF tickers on trading the regular ETF ticker? It's all preference. And
intraday, I don't mind, Joey, but we always talk about
they're not investment vehicles.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
intraday, I don't mind, especially if the fees. Sometimes the fees are a little bit higher.
They are.
But yeah, if the fees are manageable for you, that part of your homework, then yeah, I have no problem doing it. And I like it as well because I don't trade large caps, but sometimes when the pickings are slim in the world of small cap gappers and there's large caps running, I don't mind getting into some of those ETFs. Those, especially because they're smaller, they're lesser priced. You can size into them nicely. But I want to bring your attention to this, Assassino. We're going to do this again, guys. I want to know what you guys are voting for, what you guys are trading. The small cap traders, I need you to hit ones in the chat. The large cap traders, you got to hit two. How about the commodities? I'm talking about golds. I'm talking about silver, oil, throw in three. If you're about that crypto life, like your boy Joey Options in the IBIT trade, hit four. And I wouldn't forget my futures traders like I did yesterday. If you're trading the Qs, the TQQs, the SPY, IWM, DIA, NQ, ES, whatever, man, throw it in there. I want to see how many futures traders we got. You got to hit 5 on that. So make sure to vote. There it is. Let's see exactly how, large cap traders generally are always a little bit more. What I'm liking, what warms my heart is there is a good amount of you guys that are small cap traders, and I love that. So keep your eye out on the pool. We need you to vote. It really does help the stream. It helps us as well kind of know what to narrow and speak about. So keep voting, guys. We're going to leave this open for a little bit. We've only been live for about a minute here.
You got to
on
order
the poll.
shorts on this thing?
On UGRO?
Yeah,
almost
probably,
certainly. Double check with Neil, but I mean, try to take a short.
I'm long right now.
Okay. I can try.
Yeah, try.
I can try. See exactly what the situation is. Let's go. Let's go short at 1650. Rejected order. Yeah, you need shorts. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm loving the poll, man. The poll's coming in fast and furious, man. You guys are killing it. Look how many futures traders we have, dude. We'll almost have as many futures traders as we got small cap traders. 23.5% of you guys are trading the futures. And I mean, that's fantastic. The Qs, triple Qs, SQs, you've got so many different vehicles. And I know those are not strictly futures. I get that for the purists out there, but we're just going to categorize them in there for now. So the large cap traders winning the bunch.
We should get an all of the above up there. I thought that fifth option was going to be that, but
yeah, I should put that all of the above. That's stupid of me. Yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow. We're going to have 6 options.
You did number 5?
I did 5, but I put 5 for futures.
I know. Well, brother, yesterday I was like, all of the above.
I'm not very bright, bro.
You're very bright.
I'm not very bright.
You are very bright. According to, well, I mean, a lot of individuals, including myself, you're very bright. A sharp tool, nonetheless. But what is really starting to work and isn't so bright, Sharif, is going UGRO long one more time. But what is showing a little bit of light over here is that IBIT trade for a potential breakdown here, my sir, as we're now heading down to 40.20s. Is this going to be the move where we head a little bit lower south of that $40 mark? See Sia up in the chat here. Oh, Vanilla, she's placing her orders in. You know how I roll.
What is she buying now, man?
Neil, you know how I roll, brother. I don't even want the cookies. I'll just donate to the cause. So we'll see what kind of change we got in the old in my satchel back there. And I know if you take pesos, we got some of that as well too. So,
yeah, because your satchel fell yesterday, and I for a fact saw pesos on the ground, which you're holding obviously from your time at Tulum. But yeah, it was nice. How much
did you jack from me over here?
I didn't. Anything. I was nice enough to pick up your stuff.
What kind of change you got over there?
I got a couple of bucks.
How much is it?
You know, this dollar here has been here. I promise you, I'm not even lying. This dollar here has been on this. Well, this is a new desk, but it's been on my desk since late 22.
Check out the satchel.
Yeah. So
do you need that dollar?
Do you want it?
Well, we can maybe donate it to Aaron.
You got a dollar right there.
Where?
Right there. That's your dollar.
Is that my dollar?
That's your dollar.
So what are we looking at, $6 a box here, Neil?
Well, I tried to get more, but I was told that there's a limited supply.
I don't even want the box.
I was scolded for asking for 5.
I don't even want the box, but here's $6 right here, my friend. Some change. You know me, I typically don't even want the product. We just donate to the cause.
No, I want the product. Give them out, man. My mom loved them. My mom loved the product.
Get rid of that change. Dude, I'm literally Wendy's. I'm literally pulling up toonies and quarters. Toonies and quarters.
Jason Folk, it's a merce. Yeah. Who's seen that Seinfeld episode where he's like, it's a European carry-all, or he's like, what is that? He said something, it's European. He kept yelling about the fact because like someone stole his purse in the middle of New York City. So he's like, officer, someone took off with my carry-all. He's like, carry-all? What are you talking about? He's like, someone took my bag. He's like, you mean a purse?
Oh.
He's like, yes,
Satchel.
I carry a purse, and he had to like admit it in front of everybody. Which
Why was I playing with UGRO? I'm out of that thing, guys. We took 2 losses on it. I was just seeing if we can get a little bit of rocking and rolling here. That doesn't seem to be the case. So a steady uptrend. I think this is going to be a fader. Luis is probably like, Joe, what are you doing, like, trading this thing and trying to go long all the way up there? That's a great question, Luis. We won't be doing that anymore. So we'll wait for the ad here on IBIT to see. Well, no, I'm just thinking, right? I'm just acting as if Luis was, which he probably is watching, and he's like, what are you guys doing over there? But no, sure enough, it was small size. He said it's too late, eh? Yeah, see, there you go. See, hey, I already knew what he was thinking. So he's already on the opposite side of that trade. We'll avoid that one. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of fun with it, considering we still have this IBIT trade, which is working out really well for us. And I only had like 10% of what I had on this IBIT trade on that UGRO trade.
Here we go, though.
Small potatoes. It's really starting to move a little bit lower, especially from when we tried to. It was a momentum play. Didn't work out. Had a little fun with it. Now let's really get down to the nitty-gritty and into business and see if we can add on this IBIT trade.
All right. There he is. Nico O'Reilly. Oh, get out of here, bro. He scored a brace against us on the weekend, that O'Reilly kid, bro. Him and his broccoli haircut. Shut up. Adam James Abroad, thank you for the $2 super chat. Loving the travel picks, Adam. Shout out to you, brother. I watched that last YouTube video you put out. You're living life, man. You're traveling, you're trading. Good on you. Shout out and leave my people alone. Did you see how many injuries we have now? We're injury up the yin yang right now at Arsenal, man. It's tough. Pizza Gang. Costanza rocks a Merce, and Kramer is an ass man. Yes, he is. He is the ass man. Black Sheep Trades, tell us how you really feel about the haircut. Yeah, I just hate on him because he scored 2 against Arsenal. Yeah, that's a little bit of my problem there. We've got, I think, a 2-week hiatus for the Prem, guys. So I think the next time we're going to be playing in the Prem is mid-April. But Luis, brother, you're in the chat. I'd love to get your opinion here on RMSG. I just looked over to Neil, thinking about getting some shorts. It looks like it flat bottom broke through 66. I was really interested in this one for curling back into VWAP. I was waiting for a move back into the volume weighted average price. It doesn't quite make it up there, so I kind of neglected to take the short. But I want your opinion about thinking about getting back in or looking for the short at this level over here. I perceive there to be a good area of support initially at around 66, maybe some 65s there. It looks like it gave way, and if it comes back up, maybe high mid 60s, 66s, excuse me, I'm going to be thinking short. So I want you guys' opinion here on RMSG. This one is clearly losing the bid. It's at the 50 period. It's holding on at around 63, but it doesn't look like it has much. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's coming after me
I
now.
love this type. No, he's not. You think he's coming after you, man?
Okay, I can read it. Yeah. Sharif. I figured out yesterday why I never got paid on my bets from Joe the Welcher, a.k.a. Little Joey Smalls, LJS, of course. He doesn't even pay. He doesn't even pay to have his vehicle fixed. No way the Temu Pitbull is paying me. You got to send him the Cash App, Big Spile.
I don't even know what I owe you,
how's he supposed to pay you? You don't have e-transfer. You're not Canadian, right?
I said I'd ship a couple of packs of Zyn over for him.
Is he about that life?
He's all about that. He's probably got a 12 milligram in right now.
I love it. This guy already knows.
But let's get down to the nitty gritty here. If we're like, if there's any form of a somewhat shady, people are like, hey, do you really trust them or not? It's like you go to the mechanic and it's like these guys are like he did to me yesterday, like, hey man, there's still more stuff wrong with your car.
Of course there is. So he wants to get paid more.
I mean?
Which is why I said to you, you need a good mechanic friend.
You need to get, and I had one, then he didn't fix my thing. He told me to just take the car, and sure enough, I couldn't go back after.
That's not going to work out. Luis says, RMSG was a bid price, non-comp, shorted, failed, highs 85, sorry. Add only if pops reject VWAP. That's exactly what I was thinking, Luis. I was waiting for RMSG, especially around here, to make a move back in about 74, 75, where the white line is on the chart. That is a volume-weighted average price. I think the best it did was this 11 o'clock candle when it popped up to about 73 and 2/3, 73 and a half. It didn't quite make it up there, so it didn't have my attention. So I see what you're saying there. What I'm starting to notice, though, is it's very much trading like a downward channel here on RMSG. I don't mind executing on this with smaller size so I can start possibly, taking more of these short. But, yeah, I'm going to wait a little bit here. I want to see if it pops back in, maybe tries to take 70, at which point I'll get involved. Guys, by the way, UGRO, be careful here. So what just happened? So this current 5-minute candle, I'm talking about the 1150 candle, has breached the prior bar high as well as the prior bar low. So this is engulfing the red candle, and it doesn't look good, as you can see, because it's a topping tail candle and it's trading very much near, I want to say, the midpoint to low of the range. So this could be trouble here. Now, at least locally, it could be trouble. What I do like about what UGR was doing, it's two things. One, it's generally holding 14, which was at least for 10 minutes resistance at the 1120 and the 1125 bar. Moreover, it is holding the 10 EMA on the 5 at around 13 3/4. So let's see exactly what this one has to offer. I wouldn't be jumping in here. Okay, a new candle opened up 1155. So we can base our entries or exits upon the range of the prior candle, which are high 1563, the low, as I mentioned, 1379. That's almost $2 worth of range. That also should factor in whether you decide to get in here or not, because that means that, if you get in at 1480, you got to literally give it $1 or so into prior bar low. If you want to do that, do that. To me, it's not setting up quite yet until we get a decisive break of prior bar highs on a closing basis, not a wick basis. But if you want to get in here and give it to prior bar low, it should be reflected in your share size, because you're going to have to give it about $1 worth of stop range. So that's my look there, guys. SIDU apparently is moving. The do. Shout out to Ob, he is the one. Canob. Shout out to Cool Brioche for pointing this one out. This one is reclaiming the volume weighted average price. I want to see a move above 290. You had a bunch of topping tails initially from 945 to about 10 that were wicking into that 290 area. This is a good hold. I suspect these ones by default. When you lose VWAP, you reclaim VWAP. Oftentimes, it's a bit of a lower high. We'll have to wait and see. But I recognize SIDU is making a move. This could be a fail, though, of the volume-weighted average price. I'd be quite suspicious of this one, and we'd be patient on executing. A couple of other ones, LUNR is continuing to sell off. A bunch of lower highs from that 2183. It's coming into VWAP. You've got a couple of options here. You can look for the bounce off the volume-weighted average price, 2060, 2050. That's number one. Number two, you can look to go short below the volume weighted average price. I would say wait to the breach on a closing basis of 2050, or you can see how very clearly this is respecting the downtrend line. I would possibly wait for a breach of that downtrend line with a big green candle above 21 on a closing basis and look to test 22. So that's LUNR up 15.5%. There's a lot going, guys. There's a lot going. We're going to keep an eye out on these ones. What do you got, Joey?
Good stuff, man. I'm just looking at the same thing here and thinking about UGRO and what Luis is going to have to say about that. I'm curious if he's looking for the fade now, which I believe he is. It hasn't established any form of a high right now. And again, I was just having a little bit of fun with it, as I mentioned, and it's whatever that it didn't work out. We had essentially nothing on those. We really want to focus on what we got going on here with IBIT and wait for that potential opportunity to add substantially more shares for the breach of that $40 mark. considering we went over the options chain on a couple other names. Silver, we didn't see any overhead. I think that silver can really get going eventually. Gorev. And now as for that 40, that's where the largest size is. So maybe we're going to close south of this level. Okay, so these can close essentially out of the money. Excuse me, so that's what I have my eyes on. Up here would have been the ideal, add 15 cents on top of that, but I'm just gonna be patient and wait for that rebound. I think we'll come back up here, and if we fail to break through this previous pivot, then I think that's gonna be a good opportunity for us to double up our current size, all right? So that's just the narrative. I'm sitting on 33%. Ed, the stock trader, was like, nice outs over there, and I'm like, yeah, for sure, man. Good call out on grabbing some at 05s, and then 40, considering we were fortunate enough to be sitting in the trade when we had that volatility spike, but you can see that they're just starting to have less and less effect on the market. There's no real continuation. You get the flush down, you have that volume step in, and then sure enough, it's just bought right back up after, okay? So we'll keep an eye out on that. We'll see if we break through this pivot. Other than that, we're gonna be establishing lower highs, and that's what we're gonna keep an eye out on for. We don't wanna sell, we don't wanna add at the lower end of the range, okay? We'll keep our eye on the tape as well. So moving forward, let's head over and take a look at—
Can I just cover this?
Absolutely.
For Casey? PBT. Thank you, Casey, for the $5 super chat. Sharif, would you take a look at PBT for a swing? So, Casey, I kind of wrote all my thoughts to you there. Initially, this is the weekly on PBT. You can very clearly see selling between 25 and then into 26. The wicks go into 26. This is an outlying area that I'm not really considering at the moment because most of the prints reject at 25. Most of the closing prints below 25. The wicks do make it into 26. So right away, I'm looking at that as a resistance area, very critical resistance area. This is the weekly. Secondly, this observation, it's obviously a rounded bottom with a cup and handle. So this is a cup and handle pattern in my humble submission. There you go. You get the rounding pattern. You get the consolidation sideways. That's the handle component of the cup and handle. To me, I was saying to Casey, I perceived resistance at $20 on the handle component of the cup and handle. It looks like you've taken that out, Case. You were definitely fighting here between buyers and sellers. Look how many topping tails, bottoming tails candle we had over the last few days on PBT. It looks like you're clearing that now. I think with an intraday high of 22.66, so almost at 23. So it looks like you've cleared that $20 flat top break on the handle component of the cup and handle. So what's standing in your way, Case, is the resistance level that takes us all the way back. This is literally a range from December of 2022 to July of 2023 with one outlying area into 28. But again, Case, I feel it's 25 to 26 resistance, but you've made the move here. PBT, just for everybody who's wondering, Permian Basin Royalty Trust, about $1 billion market cap, and that's exactly what they are. They're Express Trust. It's Wandle Ranch Properties, has mineral interests in the Wandle Ranch. Wandle Ranch Properties have proved reserves in 6 fields, Dune, Sandhill. Okay, so they go all the different areas. And they... yeah, so basically exactly what I just said there. I'm not going to read all that. But the technicals look pretty sound, Case. Let me know how it goes. I hope you print up multiple storms. And as let you guys know, sorry, we just have to cover this super chat again. Sorry, thank you. JKL Toddler Premium. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I know you guys love your small cap gappers, but I've got a super Mario Brothers flag on SLV. Do you want to cover that for him before we go to what's happening now? Because SLV is your world.
It's a Super Mario Brothers flag, though.
I have no idea. But
I mean, Luigi, is that the red and green? Is that the red and green? Considering
maybe, I don't know.
Mario's red and Luigi's green, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
all right. Well, there we go, man. Just
smart guy, bro.
Putting things together. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, anyways, yeah, I agree. See, the thing is with silver, oh, there it goes. So this was the pullback. We're not going to get anything at that candle. I think it's just really strong. Maybe we grab a little SLV, get this UGRO ticker off our chart here, and see if we can get rocking and rolling with silver. When it trends, it's really strong. So we'll just be patient. Maybe post up. Gotta head over to the Amex. It looks like UGRO is gonna break down, but I do really like this.
I'm watching.
Oh, I'm not tapped in, so whenever, oh yeah, I am. So whenever you guys, I know
They are. Can we just cover silver?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, silver, I think looking at this potential bull flag, what I'm basing the trade off of is this volume and price anomaly right here. You have an outstanding volume print, and then also that hammer candle right around these lows. So if you can grab the lower end of the range, I think that we can get going. But if it also breaks down south of this, watch for some of this candle to slowly start to be filled. All right, guys, we're going to head off to Dara and Neil with his lesson of the day.
Let's start this happening now segment with a look at the market. I mean, obviously a little bit of chop and churn as of right now over the last hour or so, trading in a pretty tight range, but it's worth noting this market very much is still at the whim of these oil headlines. And speaking of which, let's talk about USO. Now, the biggest headline by far for USO and arguably for the market today as well, came out at 10 a.m. We heard that Iran was going to be issuing a response via Press TV to the U.S. calls for the conflict to end. They actually did issue this response. They do have 5 points that they want to see the U.S. address before they even have conversations. And the 5th point is, I think, the biggest by far. That's the idea that they want recognition of Iran's authority over the Strait of Hormuz. And again, if these points are not met, they don't even want to speak to the U.S. So that is a major, major point to be aware of. It's also worth noting here that a little bit after 11 a.m., we got some reports that a nuclear power plant in Iran had been hit again. So power plant strikes and some other comments here with regards to oil in the Strait of Hormuz. Now let's talk about TSLA and mostly kind of the space sector in general, with SpaceX very likely filing for its IPO imminently. That was reported by the Wall Street Journal as well as Reuters, and TSLA also being aided today by a nice 29.1% year-over-year increase in Europe sales. Last but not least, here's a fun one for you guys. In just under an hour at 1 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be getting a White House press briefing from Caroline Leavitt. This wasn't initially on the schedule. It was announced, I think, a little bit before the open. But another piece of Trump news here. President Trump announcing the President's Council of Advisors in Science and Technology, or PCAST. Here are the inaugural members. They include Sergey, Brin, Safra Katz, Michael Dell, Fred Ehrsam, who is the co-founder of Coinbase. Actually, you've got Larry Ellison of Oracle, Jensen Huang, and Mark Zuckerberg, 2 Make 7 CEOs, as well as Jensen Huang's cousin, Lisa Su. David Friedberg also here, and if you're familiar with the All In podcast, you might be able to quickly draw a conclusion as to why he's here, and that's because the co-chair of the council is David Sachs, who's also on this podcast. So interesting look here. You can check this out on X at TTV Research. In the meantime, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and put on your listening ears because we have a lesson for you. I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to be awesome. Neil, what's the lesson?
Have you ever found yourself in Letterkenny, Ontario, and in need of a trading plan to make money? Well, then bring yourself over to Lean Roberts' new trade action plan where you buy the dip and don't quit. Because if you pay for my course just $1,999 a month, I will teach you all the strategies such as when to buy the dip and don't quit. When you do so, all you have to do is buy shares in whatever company you want, and then you add to that position by buying even more shares. Now, here's the critical part. You continue to buy even if it continues to go down. But if you don't sell, you can't lose. Buy the dip and don't quit. All right, now I'm losing track of all the cameras. Now, obviously, I'm just messing around, everybody. I was watching some Key and Peele, and I felt inspired by Doug Duggarts, or whatever the name of that skit was. You can check it out. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not sit there and only buy the dip and don't quit. Don't be stubborn. A trader can't be stubborn. Today would be a really good example of that. You saw what just happened with these headlines where we just went out of control. Tackle and grapple. If you see the skit from Key and Peele, you guys are going to understand. Well, I love them, and I had to. But no, in all absolute seriousness, everybody, stubbornness can get the best of us. You saw, like, this morning, I was getting FOMO at one point because AMD breakout. Look at the long on AMD. Doesn't give you the dip and rip. It's absolutely gonzo at that particular point. It's like, well, what are you going to do? And then you looked over at ARM, which look at that trend break right off the open. Look at it hold VWAP. Look at how clean that is. It's another place that I would like. And I'm over there in IBIT. And I know I mentioned this in the middle at the open show, but IBIT was doing the stair step up, and it was like, okay, it could have been the lagging move. I like Bitcoin. I like the fact that it was showing strength. I like that it was over. It had everything that I wanted, right? Like you were trying to break back over some prior highs. You were making higher lows. There's one, there's the higher low off the open. That's setting up into a breakout, so I'm playing it into the volume weighted average price. And when I got out at VWAP, I jumped back in again, and it was right about here that a decision was to be made. Sometimes you've got to be able to just say to yourself, that long is wrong. And it's not just that it's wrong. Like at the moment when you have the NASDAQ, which was pressing and looking pretty strong, pressing higher in that first hour, like it was strength in that first hour. And we're losing VWAP and we're trending down in Bitcoin. What is the market telling me? The market's telling me that it's relatively weak. So my initial thesis was just, I kind of like the long because we held 70K and I'm bullish in general in the market, so I'm going to play the long trend in IBIT. That wasn't there. It was multiple areas of confluence. Fail of the pre-market high. That's usually one step to a short setup for me. Trend break, that's another step for a short setup. Lose VWAP, that's another short setup. Now it's all well and good to cut your losses on the long trade, but it's another one to realize I might have had a thesis for the long, but everything about my usual setups is telling me this is a short. And then on top of that, I like the 40-40 level as a key price level. Well, if I think it's a short, when it gets down into there, that's where I want to add and then give it back to that prior bar, which it just never went. So we're able to grab that short trade. It really just comes down to not being stubborn. Have an area where to quit and have the willingness to listen to what the market is telling you. It's entirely possible I don't reverse that if it doesn't set up, but I have to be able to listen to myself. And it's easier to see on a higher time frame. When I pull out the 15-minute chart, it's a little bit more obvious the dynamic that was going on. Because I also wrote down, well, into a 1480 break. We couldn't break this top out. So when that doesn't happen and you've rejected that breakout and you have the key support level like this, if that loses, then you've got a gap fill. It didn't quite go all the way down to 39.8. You got a huge gap fill. So that's a setup that I usually like. If it's on Intel, I probably take it 10 times out of 10 if I see that same setup on like an Intel. But in this particular case, I came in with the thesis. It was the first stock you guys saw me in. It was in it for a while. I was reloading it. And then the market just shifted on me. You can't be stubborn. You can't just keep on buying it till it works and then hope that it eventually catches up. That's absolutely not going to work out for you. So, the whole idea in trading is to simply find a trade or a setup, an entry, in a direction, with an entry price, with an exit, and have a thesis behind why am I in this trade? What do I need to see to tell me it's working? I would love to have seen it gone up with the futures. It wasn't doing that. I would love to see it hold VWAP. It was not doing that. I would love to see it hold trend. It was not doing that. All those things said get out of the trade. And then a lot of them also told me this is a short setup and you had to reverse. It's not about being right in the market. It's not about making a call in the market. It's about making a trade and being profitable. That's your only job out there. So that's one way to turn red to green is to get with the trend. And try to keep it as simple as you can. And ultimately, the more you're able to define the things that you're looking for in a trade, the easier it will be to acknowledge when, hey, this isn't doing what I'm expecting, so I'm going to stop being stubborn and maybe even reverse. So there's your lesson of the day. And I mean, I don't want to take anything away from tackle and grapple, because every now and then you might find yourself in need of some help when it comes to self-defense. And tackle and grapple is very effective. Let's go back to the midday.
I like how we ended that. That's
this is self-defense. All right, guys, so what are we doing here? I started a position here on silver. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm buying the top end here. I don't love the positioning, so I have no issues with just cutting it. I want to wait till we get a lower price just in case it curls over. I could be wrong, and I couldn't make a mistake by getting out when I did, but that's all right because I have a little conviction, and I mean, if I enter right now, I'm already in significantly cheaper than what I was. Well, not significantly, 10 cents anyways, which is better. So lower end of the range, less risk at 65s. We play the break to 55s. 10 cents worth of risk, you put on whatever. And 5-minute hammer on Palantir closes price yesterday. Good call out there. Gorev, we're still in this IBIT short working out really well for us, and we're going to add a little bit more because you can see on this pullback, failed to construct a new high. And I think at this point, we're just consolidating before we break this leg, and then sure enough, head a little bit lower. So that's what I got going on here on IBIT. Going to stick to the ones that have been working for us, right? We tried UGRO, whatever that name may be, and that didn't work. We had the Tesla long, didn't work, but this one's large enough for us that it is working. So just holding it with a lower win rate, but just holding the winner significantly longer, helping us stay within this game. And now silver coming back to the lower end of that range, so not too bad of a look whatsoever over here. Before we send it off to Sharif, newsflash, angry mob from Letterkenny on Ontario, he spelled Ontario wrong there, seen headed to Trader TV studio. There's no such thing, my friend. We are friends with the, I didn't even know Letterkenny was a place, to be honest with you. Yeah, did you know that Letterkenny was like a place in Ontario?
I did not.
Oh, all right, so there you go. That shows you how big it is. Look at Joe's picture.
Sorry, give me 1 sec, Joe. I'm just setting up a couple of trades here.
For sure. Good thing we got out. Good thing we got out of that silver short, right at the lower end of the range.
Okay, thank you, Neil.
You said Ontario, Aereo. All right. Other than that, guys, IBIT working for us. The market not doing too much once again. You have the volatility spike, so what are you going to do? If you have a game plan, it's just like, all right, let's wait until that next catalyst comes out or that next news event that drops and says, hey, we're going to step some volatility into this market and base a trade off that. I think that's the better way to go because look what's happened after each event. Just sideways chop. You recover the move and then you move eastward. So not much really going on, sticking with going with the flow, and that's going to be an add on IBIT. Moving forward, oh yeah, I wanted to take a look at the chain here. We already did, but this $40 mark is really important. Okay, 12,500 right there, 4,490. I think that eventually throughout the week that we close south of that level. Could I be wrong? Is it substantial size? Absolutely not. Considering last Friday was the triple witching event. A lot of that didn't roll over. So a lot of contracts, we looked at the NVIDIA chain just expiring. Worthless, essentially, all right? Now, silver just really starting to drag me in, but I think I'm going to avoid this thing. It was hot for a while, and then it's just been kind of choppy for me. It's tougher when you, with the ebb and flow and just a choppy range. You have to be really precise with the entry, get at the lower end, and then sell at the higher end, or sell at the higher end, buy at the lower end, okay? So that's what we got going on. Before we send it back, let's take a look at some of the larger participants and how they've been acting. We've looked at NVIDIA, now south of the volume-weighted average price. Apple, nice recovery right here, but right at VWAP. Microsoft, how have you been performing? Not too good. Strong leg down at Gore. I think you're saying you were long over here. Nice little pop, but then you reject VWAP and then form those consistent lower highs. Not good. You break the support level at 372, and then off to the races you go to the downside. Amazon, Google, that's Google. Google, not too bad, slowly starting to recover, nice volume print, but there's still too much buying pressure there in my opinion. And then Tesla, really starting to slide. I'm glad that we got out of that long off of that curl over at the volume weighted average price.
All right, we're short both. We're short SIDU, we're short RMSG. Let's see what happens. Come hell or high water, let's go. So out on the do. My out on SIDU is, sorry, let me just look at my risk calculator. Out on SIDU 289. If it breaches 289 long, I'm gone. RMSG out, my stop loss. If it breaches 71, I'm gone. This one, actually RMSG looks like it might be headed back up over here to retest 70 again. I've given it a little bit of room into into 71 pennies, but let's see exactly kind of what the situation is. I've also got to keep an eye on UGRO because it just bottoming tailed into 1350 and now it's being bought up into 1440. So be on the lookout there, guys. UGRO is still putting in lower highs as a, just general rule over here. We're not going to be getting into that. This is what the chart looks on it. So let's just adjust the trend line. Still holding that downtrend. You can see that a bit better once you kind of extend it out. But this candle here shows you, well, I mean, it's always hard to know if there's a lot of short covering or a lot of buying at this level. My spidey sense tells me probably a bit of both. Reason is, clear area of support, right? You had 1, 2, 3 candles dance around this 1350 with wicks into 14, but the closing prints were south. So buyers could be stepping in there. Moreover, people who were shorting 16, 15s, they're going to be covering into this area as well because that's an area of technical resistance or support initially. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on there. Now, I want to talk about my targets on RMSG. My target on this one, let me just have a look over here. On RMSG, we're looking for 1R is 6, oh, that's SIDU, excuse me. I'm looking for 66 on RMSG. All right, so that's 1R. We're gonna wet the beak at around there. We're still at 67s and change. I am a little bit concerned about this one. Let's see if it continues to put in lower highs, but it keeps making attempts at 70. So let's see if we can cover at around that 66 area. So we're gonna look to buy at 66. Let's go 66.2, just so that we can cover a little bit. So we're throwing that order there. On SIDU, still showing some lower highs. I am concerned that we do breach back above and hold the volume weighted average price. We're straddling VWAP right now. It does have a bit of an uptrend. So when you kind of look at this a little bit more thoroughly on the DO, it did catch a bit of an uptrend into volume weighted average price. Volume weighted average price gets breached on a closing basis, mind you, and now we have a bit of a downtrend. So let's see how this recovers. My out is above this candle here. It's really that simple. The 1155 candle, the high of which is 288. So we're gonna have to pack the patience, see exactly what ends up manifesting. We don't often short these small cap gappers, but we gotta diversify the game a little bit over here. So that's kind of why I'm getting involved with that. What did I just do? I gotta send it to you. I think I just closed one of my screens, which is going to cause me, oh, there we go.
You got it?
We got it. We're good. We're good. Guys, UGRO is losing the bid, and RMSG is making a big move here into 70.5, so I'm about to get stopped out of that. Here it is, right into 71. We got stopped out of that. So we give back a little bit there on RMSG. I'm going to be keeping an eye at VWAP though. So 70 was the resistance level that I was looking at getting out at, 71 exactly. But now VWAP is at about, I want to say a little bit below 73, at around 73, excuse me, 73.69, in and around that level. Let's see what this one has to offer. So I'm going to keep a close eye here on RMSG, but it does feel like I need to be a bit careful with this. Now, the reason I say that is as follows. This is an obvious downward channel, right? You can kind of see that. And you're breaking above the downward channel. Really what's standing in your way is that volume weighted average price at around high 73s, low 74s. So that is the look there. I'll have to keep an eye out on that, see exactly what we get on this monster. But packing the patience here on RMSG, Joey.
All right, good stuff. I was just seeing where Letterkenny, Ontario was there.
Where was it?
It's over by the Petawawa River.
Oh.
Yeah, so for those who are familiar with Northern Ontario, or I should say Northeastern Ontario, I actually canoed in my younger days the Petawawa River, which was absolutely time of the life. I was on the river for 2 weeks, to be honest with you. All right, guys, moving forward, see, patience is extremely key. We haven't added yet on this specific trade. We consolidate more, I like it. I just don't get the feel that we're gonna get that strong breakup, and even if we do, and we reject VWAP, if I get stopped out break even, so be it. It's 33%. But if we come back towards the volume weighted average price, essentially on low volume and not much strength, I have no, what is it, Henry? I have no issues with just reshorting the situation. So what did Fabian say? Fabian saying something in the chat. No, but other than that, guys, breakdown on silver. Glad that we got out of that one as we're heading towards a key support level. good avoiding holding on to that long. I did think we could start rolling on that one. Hasn't been the case whatsoever, as the market looks like it wants to continue to the southeast. All right, so downward momentum here, not too good of a look unless you are to the short side. Now moving forward, we'll go back to our watch list and see what we got going on and just scroll down the lower. And Palantir, Gorb, you were talking about this one. A nice base that's being formed. It's really reassuring when you have these volume prints and it just doesn't go off to the, start climbing right away and off to the races. You have that base being formed. The V-shaped reversal is a little bit more difficult to manage and hold because you never know. You might have that opposite reaction as well too off of that reversal candle. But when you start to form that consolidative base and then you slowly start to curl over, I like that a lot as a potential price action pattern. And sure enough, that was experienced right there in Palantir. Moving forward, we always look at the quantum names. Rigetti sucks to suck, as I typically say. Yeah, it sucks to suck. Sharif, quantum computing, QUBT, not looking too good either. Just a space that was so hot at one point, no longer the case anymore. Now we'll take a look at if Circle is going to recover. So we were going over options. Strike price this morning on Circle at $120 with an increase in the volatility. I just think at some point it's going to be so impossible, like currently, for it to climb within what we're going through within this catalyst to get a pullback to 120. That's why I think writing those specific contracts isn't a horrible idea whatsoever. All right, moving forward, BBAI, I know everybody loves this one. $3.50. Oh no, Katina, man, that's not a good look whatsoever, as it's now printing a new low almost, so that is not a good one. Let's go over and actually pull this up because we haven't in quite some time and see how everyone's performing. We'll go over CrowdStrike and Walmart here momentarily. I want to see how both of them are. Ooh, sliding down to that 6th spot. Ramin jumping up to that 4th spot there. Sharif sitting in that 5th spot. I mean, she bounced a lot. And then our boy...
I think she had probably a nice little bump today with Astis. Isn't Astis up?
Astis, is that the one who's rocking and rolling for her? What happened here? Why can't... I want to go to each individual. There we go. Tracker.
No. Oh,
so Obi's still holding on to that. He's just rocking and rolling with this BW. I'm going to tell, I know Obi's secret. I know how he did it, but am I going to tell everybody? Absolutely not. All right, Joseph not looking too good. Our once dominant position within Walmart now not looking so good. CrowdStrike down to 16% again. JP Morgan slowly recovering, down 9% from our entry. Okay,
all right.
So we'll keep an eye out on that.
All right, guys, watching RMSG, there is the touch into VWAP, keeping a close eye on this. Let's see if we can, let's see if we'll clear this level. This is a nice little move up here for RMSG. Interesting look. Let's see if we can kind of get the rejection there. Down into 73-ish still. There's a lot of, it feels like short covering, but VWAP should be an interesting area for this stock. So we'll see if it ends up being that way or not. We're keeping a close eye on this one, looking for a little bit more here. Into 72 we go. Let's see if we can kind of dip down. Looks like we're rejecting here, which is good. Looking to, I don't know why it's not letting me in. Oh, interesting.
Volume stepping into the market here, guys.
Something's going on. Okay. Keep your eye out on that. Shout out to Joey Opsh. Keeping an eye on RMSG. I'm looking for a move into 69. That's going to be 1R for me on RMSG. We're back into this at VWAP, trying to pack the patience, but you know, we got an initial rejection. We have a lower high on this candle, so prior bar high takes us to 74.50, prior bar low 70.51. We kind of need to breach 751 for me to feel good about this, because we need to breach prior bar low, which we currently aren't doing. So that is something to look out for there. Here we go, coming down a little bit. Not a bad move right now on RMSG. We got good size on this, looking for a breach of prior bar low. Here comes, there it is, nice trade here. Okay, we're gonna wet the beak there. Very small share size. Did we breach prior bar low? There it goes, Joey, looking for 69er. Let's go, Mr. 69. Oh, it's not giving it to me, so we'll cancel that. We'll move it down a little bit.
Whoa.
Go ahead,
Massive
Joey.
Spike in IBIT. We gotta get out of that one as it squeezed and the market climbing a little bit higher. Big time volume stepping in on Bitcoin there, guys. I thought that we would get the continuation on the breakdown. We got stopped out 33%, but something might be going on here with Bitcoin as the volume is really, really starting to step in here. Let's see if we can wait for that pullback and we'll get an entry on there, but look at that volume and look at that 1 minute print. Absolutely monstrous there, Sharif. We're gonna keep an eye on if we can get in here. This is the largest 5 minute print on the day via volume. With that being said, I wanna get involved with the long side. Someone said that insider trading happening. Absolutely. What? That would never happen. What are you talking about? But no.
Yeah, we're going to insider trade on camera so that,
not,
you know.
no, not us. They were referring to us. Yeah. They're just saying because it happened a couple times, like you had that weird fluctuating volume, and it's just probably larger participants who know a little bit of something really starting to transact. So at the end of the day, wait for this pullback, IBIT, and we are going Longzo. Longzo ball.
Longzo ball, I like that. All right, we're continuing to drop here on RMSG. We're continuing to watch. We're still holding shares. I'm keeping an eye on SIDU, though, which seems to be breaking again above the volume-weighted average price. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. We're basically getting a lot of defense at around low 69s. I want to say 69 and a quarter. I still haven't seen any 68s flash. There it is, Joey frickin' options. We're taking more here. Let's bring it down a little bit more. Still holding good shares. There is 68, and we're covering more here. Let's frickin' go. All right, good trade here, and on RMSG. We're making it back and then some. Now in the money on this one. Let's continue to watch here. RMSG, bring it down, baby, bring it down. Now, target for me, 2R, 65. 65 might be a bit of a tough one. I see a lot of support at 65, 66 to 65. High 65s, low 66. That's where I see the support at. Look at this, guys. Look at this right here. Area support, 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 support. Breaks down, comes back above it, starts using it as support again. And that's kind of where I got in. So I'm alive to the fact that there is a buyer in and around 66. Now, he's been outdone on the day, but not for long. I mean, we only spent like minutes, not seconds. Each one of these is minutes. Below that level. So let's go ahead. We're going to post something small here at, let's go 68, let's go 68.25, all right? So we're going to post something around there. We're going to be looking at wetting the beak in and around that level.
One thing I want to mention here, Sharif, I know it just dropped. It's nothing crazy, but $2 billion of inflows on Bitcoin ETFs over the past day or so. So, I mean, maybe it's looking like a little place as ETFs kind of bleed. So is everybody rotating, or the larger participants rotating out of gold into Bitcoin? I mean, that's a lot of volume that just stepped in right there.
That's actually a good point. That is, we've been talking about that. We're talking about the rotation out of gold and silver into some crypto names, mainly because of the U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar strengthening. U.S. dollar strengthens. Gold inversely correlated typically with the U.S. dollar. So that has been an interesting trade, actually. I didn't take anything, obviously, with that. But, guys, I want to mention that LUNR is getting a very clean bounce off the volume-weighted average price. No closing prints below that $20, I want to say, in 60-cent area, okay? And now it's back into 21-ish, with a prior bar high being a topping tail, so I'd be careful. 21.16 area high. Looks like a rejected 20s. Be on the lookout there, but LUNR recovering, and these names are in vogue today because of the whole SpaceX thing. Jared Isaacman yesterday, the NASA administrator, basically saying that NASA's going to look at you know, their lunar missions a little bit differently. They had been planning to send multiple robotics missions to that. Now they want to create like a moon base where humans can continue to go. So if that's the case, and a lot of these companies, space companies that are creating these lunar landers, lunar, let's say rovers, whatever, they could be in some trouble. So Jared Isaacman throwing the space industry a bit of a curveball yesterday. We'll have to see, you know, what kind of follow through we get on
so
that.
I'm quoting, sorry,
Go ahead, Joey.
something fishy going on with my quotes here. That level 2 stuck at 40.30.
Uh-oh.
Right? I wanted to get on the ask, but good thing we didn't, because we would have been stopped up pretty quick, and I was going significantly larger, like the Tesla share size that I had from before, just for a potential bounce off of the volume weighted average price. I can give it one more attempt, but there's something wrong going on with this quote over here, because I just usually click on the L2, hit that above the ask, and then sure enough, you would catch that fill instantly. But yeah, something going on there. I just wanted to point that out.
Guys, I'm continuing to watch here RMSG, which is finding a bit of a bid. I don't think I'm going to allow this to go against me into 72. So if it comes up into 72, I'm flattening out break even. So I don't really want a retest of the volume weighted average price. Now, if it retests VWAP and then loses prior bar, which is the prior candle to this one, I'll get back in. I've got the shorts, right? But for now, it does seem like it's recovering. It has a higher low and very, very notable higher low. So this current candle has a 69.10 low. Prior bar was 68.13. That's not what I want to see. I want to see lower lows. So I'm continuing to watch, but if it crosses 72, I'm going to go ahead and end the trade. I'm going to go a little bit above 72 just so that it doesn't, wick me out. So we're going to go like that. Perfect. And that will give me a little bit more room with which to work on RMSG. That's buy. Good. So we throw that in there. Let's keep an eye out on that. But LUNR continuing to go. So whoever's interested in that. Ben Zagal says, I work in the industry, referring to space that we were just talking about. They are just throwing around random things at this point. So I asked him to kind of explain a little bit, waiting for the tag. We're going to go to Adair. She's got news.
JBLU flying higher right now. Semaphore reporting that the company is exploring some merger partners. So again, potential merger exploration here from JBLU. JetBlue was reported by Semaphore.
Interesting. This is I remember Spirit trying to merge with JetBlue during the previous administration. That failed. I think they'll probably have more of a receptive regulator this time around, Joey. But it's been tough for the airline industry, man. It's kind of hard to make money in that business, man. Like
so tough being bailed out and all these really.
Tell us how you really feel, Joey. I love it. All right, guys, continuing to hold RMSG here, looking for the move down. Back into 69 we go. Not a bad drop there. Good, good, good. Now we're looking at wetting the beak at around 68 and change. Let's see if we can get a big red candle. We're getting a red candle on the 1. The 5-minute candle still green, so that isn't good news. Looking for more blood. I hate to put it that way, but looking for more downside here on RMSG. The reason I like this so much, it's a VWAP retracement. It's almost the same as when we say we're looking for a VWAP bounce like we're getting on LUNR. That's what I'm looking for, but in the exact opposite on RMSG. We're going to have to pack the patience. I've said very little about SIDU because it's done very little. 285, I'm short 283. My stop is above the prior high of the 1155 candle, the high of which is 88s. So I've been kind of keeping my eye on that, but it's given me very little to talk about. Watching here RMSG come back down into 69.5, looking for the loss of 69 because we definitely did defend 69 quite well on that last attempt. But here we are again, 69 buyer for the moment. Somebody buying here at 69, looking for the move down. I'm waiting for 68.25. Monster buyer here, Joey, at 69. You can see some of the size getting taken off the bid, though, so we are eating a little bit of that. And boom, a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm waiting for the cross. Come on, cross,
Who's this
man.
individual at 52,
just cross,
man?
bro.
Just cross.
Boom.
Oh, you're short too there, my dog.
We are booming on this one. Man. Good trade here on RMSG. We're still holding some, looking for a little bit more. We're going to Adair.
52s, man.
More details here in this possible JetBlue merger. Now, according to the Semaphore report, which again said they're exploring potential merger partners, these partners include UAL, United Airlines, ALK, and Southwest. And we know there's the previous Southwest talk, so this actually makes it very interesting here for JBLU. It's also interesting, apparently they're exploring these merger partners with regards to how they think the mergers would fare in Washington with the Trump administration and I guess the approvals there. So basically they're saying, will these mergers get approval, yes or no? And that's the basis they're using to evaluate these partners. Back to you.
Get down.
Get down.
Get down. Boom, Joey, there goes RMSG all the way down. Down
You disconnected
goes,
there.
I know. I'll plug it back in.
Right,
but down goes Fraser. There we go. We're taking a little bit more. Nice move down here on RMSG. Nice VWAP rejection. Now we have to deal with that same area we have been dealing with all morning. There's a buyer at between 66 and 65. You're seeing that right here. It's stepping in. Remember we were talking about this area? Let's put in the one. Look at all the defends here at 66. Multiple defends. We fail. We get back above it, and then we start using 66 to 65 again as support. That was my concern about it. That's why we kind of used the hotkeys quickly to get out of some there, but this is a good one. We're looking for more on this, Joey. We're still holding, and if we can make it down into 60, this could be money. Low of day, 62.30. I'm talking pennies here. So let's continue to watch. I'm going to throw something at 64 as well.
All right, good stuff, man. We're in this IBIT trade. I'll tell you guys full disclosure, but I typically risk, what did I have here? About 5% of my day on this one. This one I'm risking 50% of my risk on this trade right here. So yeah, and I'm only giving it 10 cents.
Oh my Lanta.
50%, baby.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, we're looking at, hey, I'm just trying to follow the volume. It's either it's going to break up or it's not. So I'm willing to risk,
baby.
Yeah, exactly. I'm willing to risk half the day on this potential trade, especially on that big time volume side. But we're running into a seller at 52. It keeps pushing price lower, and the longer that it takes for us to break through, the less I truly like it. So I have to be prepared to get out right away. But I want to hold this in case we do break. But obviously we have to follow our risk measures. So we'll take the hit if it doesn't work out for us. But if it does, we're going to stay optimistic because I have enough conviction within that trade. Yeah, I could do it there. Punch through. Someone remove this guy. This 52 seller. Oh, we're pinching 52s on the ass. Come on, give us it on the bid. We need it on the bid. No, see, keep stepping in. You keep seeing him stepping in, pushing price a little bit lower. Let's see if that gets lifted to Dara.
Keep an eye here. USO, we do have some more potential updates here with oil. We have comments, or rather a post on X here from an Axios reporter by the name of Barak Ravid. He's saying that he was told by an official in the Trump administration that Iran actually hasn't messaged with an official response yet. So we know Iran's been saying they've rejected the proposal, but apparently they haven't officially responded. So this reporter on Axios is saying that at this point it's kind of unclear how much of Iran's response is actually posturing and how much of it is officially closing the door in negotiations. So again, long story short, doesn't look like Iran has officially rejected the U.S.'s offer with regards to ending these tensions. Back to you.
Dude, are you concerned like I am that there's multiple, let's just call them parties or groups that could be, it could be in power. Like, for example, a political group who, are more moderate.
You're referring to Iran, right?
The Iranian leadership right now, because so many of them have been killed. Are you worried that, negotiations could kind of find some sort of a stalemate because you make a deal with one group, but that other group, let's just say military leaders who are more radicals or more hawkish, don't agree with that political group, so they don't honor the deal. President Trump, you know what that leads to, right? That concerns the hell out of me.
It's not like we haven't seen that before, Sharif.
No, what do you mean?
Look at the other countries where this happened. You take down the leadership, and then you have civil war, unfortunately, between multiple groups, right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like this political vacuum is going to cause trouble. What is this guy doing? It's going to cause trouble. And I feel like maybe, you strike a deal with one party and, but they're not really in the power. Get it, Joey? So are me. I'm trying to chill over here.
Are you kidding me?
Get it.
No, dude, I don't know. This thing is, how many shares does this have traded? 24 million shares. I'm trying to sell a little something at 60s. Rejected order?
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, come on, man. Maybe we're going to hold this, man. We're going to hold this back up in the 60s. But I think that was the opportunity. Should have posted to see if we could get it. We didn't break through that previous high. We did get that move up in the 60s, which we were looking for. But now I missed the order. So, I mean, that's well, I mean, I don't understand why. Like, ARCA, the most, probably one of the more liquid books, or NASDAQ rejected order. Like, why? That makes 0 sense. Anyways, aside from that, I'm going to change every single hotkey to smart routing. You'll catch a fill on that one. Yeah, smart.
Hold on, we have it now?
Yeah, we have smart.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, let's pull it up right now and we'll take a look at it. I guess I'll just continuously, I'll pay attention here. I may as well post up, so make it easier so I just don't miss it this time, right? Just in case it comes into play, but I have that hunch that they're listening to me like, all right, this guy's gonna post up at 60s? No way we're gonna give him that.
This guy, bro.
I know.
People think that, bro.
Yeah, don't believe a word that I say to me. I shouldn't say that either. But believe a lot what I say. When I'm being sarcastic and put that voice on, then that's when you. But I think we do get 60s at some point. Sharif, see,
yes,
look, gateway, smart.
Smart.
What is smart routing? So smart, essentially, it'll just hit you on any. That. It's like Frex. So smart routing, from what my previous experience is that it will just give you whatever gateway. It's more or less for a market order. If you want price right now, it will just hit everything and then give you the fill. And to be honest with you, the fees weren't that bad on it when I was using it from before. Yeah.
That was my first concern, right? Yeah. Guys, we got a lot of buying here at around 65. On RMSG. That's multiple times now. We've defended it. I've got a lot of room between my entry and the current price action, so this lets me rest a bit easier. I don't think I'm gonna move down my stop. I'd rather allow this to develop. I thought about moving down my stop to around 70, maybe 71. I'm just gonna allow this kind of to develop over here. Let's see what this one has to offer. RMSG, very interesting. Frank, brother, you're missing the point, Frank. You're nitpicking at the words, brother, rather than getting the message. My message about that whole Iran thing was to say, maybe you were negotiating with one group who are less radical than another group. One group, wants to salvage the country, the infrastructure, doesn't want the oil fields destroyed. The other one is more, ideologically driven rather than driven by monetary, incentives, and they'll take this to the grave, so to speak. Instead of nitpicking at the words, listen to the message, brother. Thank you. Let's continue to watch SIDU. SIDU is doing nothing. I've been really thinking about getting the hell out of this one because it's stair-stepping up little by little, and it's holding trend. So this one does concern me that, it makes a move back above VWAP. And also, what I don't like about this is this uptrend is unbroken. Now, to be fair, you're not exactly getting a lot of buying, and the volume is dwindling. But this uptrend here is definitely eye-opening. And you're not even rocketing up. You're stair-stepping ever so slowly. So where are the sellers? I mean, where are the short sellers on SIDU? I don't feel that they're there. We're out of the money on SIDU by, I want to say 2 pennies, which isn't big, but this is closing in on my stop. I don't know if I'm going to allow it to kind of go up there because I don't like what I'm seeing. I have to keep kind of thinking about this one a little bit. But what do you got, Joey? I have to debate this one a little bit.
Yeah, same thing here, guys. I mean, obviously we want to take. I would have took half off right there at at that 60 print. So we're just going to sit in this still full position right now and see if we can get a little bit of a climb back. I'm not liking it considering we break that previous pivot high and then we start to come in a little bit. So I have to be cautious and be prepared to get out. We're in at 49s. If it cracks VWAP, then we'll have to take the hit and then just get out of the trade and not let the emotions get the best of us. So let's see what we got. It was a nice breakup. Should have been a little bit more prepared to take some off. What's up, Jay? What's up, my guy who said this? JKL. What's up, brother? Jojo, my guy. Silver. Yeah, silver's looking really good. It's curling over, heading towards the resistance zone at $66. And I think at this point, considering it's forming those higher lows, you might get the continuation. NVIDIA hasn't done too much here, right? I mean, it's been consolidating south of the volume-weighted average price for quite some time now, and that's been approximately since 12 o'clock now, and it was 40 minutes, and it hasn't really done anything. The market, definitely a grind here, guys. You want to try to catch that lower end of the range, but come on, I have, so the reason why I'm in this is, let's take a look at the volume. So there it goes. It's starting to come back in. We'll just pop out.
My man Bovin.
Anyways, look at this volume print here on IBIT on the 5-minute. All right, that's substantial. So what am I doing essentially is I'm just trying to go with the flow and follow this volume. but it doesn't look like there's going to be any follow through on that specific candle. Not much selling pressure considering that range, that this candle's range was 40 cents, and you pull back about 10 or 15 cents. So I like that from a pressure standpoint, but it just doesn't look like we're going to get anything right now. But let's say remain. We have confidence. We have confidence. Let's go. Step right back in there, buyers, and drive Bitcoin a little bit higher. Let's see if there was any more news on this. I'll type in BTC. Just curious, because that's a lot of volume stepping in. I'm curious if that had to do with anything. Okay, RG bearish event.
Joey,
no, I don't see anything. Go ahead, man.
Guys, GV's making a move. Shout out to Bovin. Great call, Bovin. This is very aggressive. The volume profile is really picking up. Volume bars are about 1.5 million shares. More, I think the prior one, we almost hit 2. Let me maximize because I can't see it. We hit 1.823, so almost, almost 2 million shares on that last 5-minute candle. GV on the NQ up about 58%, 41.98 high. We're trading at 39.40. Levels are as follows. Current bar low, 36.69. Prior bar low, 33.76. VWAP, 34 1/3. 10 EMA on the 5. Walk it off, brother. Yeah, 32 pennies on GV. So this one is quite interesting. As a long, I think 41.98. If that gets breached above it, I've got a bias that we work in likely to 50. You get into that 40 territory. Whether or not you're close to 50, you're likely going to glance at it. So I'm unsure how to execute at the moment. I could try to base my entry on current bar low. Problem with that is prior bar is topping tail, and this current 5-minute candle is engulfed by the prior bar on the from the top and bottom. Bless you, Fabian. I don't know. Bovin, what's your move on this? Go long break of 40 into 50. I don't disagree with that, Bovin, but prior bar is 40.87, so essentially 41. We know selling is coming in at around that level. So, let's see if 40 gets cleared. If 40 gets cleared decisively on a closing basis, I think I might work my way into this for a move into 50. We'll see what 50 has to offer, whether or not, we clear that and make a move into the dollar. Also, Cool Brioche, saying VIVO. A little bit light on volume, Cool Brioche, on that one. We'll have a quick look. VIVO is the one that Cool Brioche is talking about there. Let's flip to the 5 on that. Yeah, good. Oh, you did point this out to me. This is not bad. This is light on volume, Cool Brioche, but the trend is very much intact. That 280 buyer, like exactly what I said to you. Look back at the message that you and I were going back and forth. That 280 area, you felt that there was a lot of resistance. You pop up to 305, then you started holding 280. So good entry on you, brother. I'd be looking for a decisive clearing of 3, and I think you're probably golden on that. Keep me updated on that trade, but I'm continuing to watch GV as it hangs around this 40 penny area, Bovin. I'm going to wait for a clearing of the 40 penny area before I maneuver into this one. Separately, I'm still holding my short on RMSG. It looked like it worked its way into 67, but it was met with some selling. Now, it still hasn't breached prior area low. Prior area low is 65. I'm waiting in the low 64s for a liquidity test to see if I can get in. All right, but first and foremost, we need to breach 65, which we didn't do on the last attempt down. So I'm keeping my position the way it is here, not doing anything right now on RMSG. I'm looking for a move below 65, and then if we get that 65, 64 and a quarter fill where I'm waiting, I'm going to be looking for the low of the day, and then I'm also going to hold a piece for the breach of 60. So it's a 62.30 technical low of the day. Obviously, it's been below that in the pre-market, but that was earlier on. I want to say when the news came out at around 9, because that's when this one started rocketing up. So RMSG in focus for me. GV doesn't look good here. 2 topping tail candles in a row. I'm talking about the 1245 candle above in. I'm talking about the 1240, 1245. Both are topping tail. The 1250 candle is now losing the bid. It is headed back down, I think, to probably the 10 EMA. So here are the levels for GV. 10 EMA at around 32 pennies. And then I see a lot of initial resistance at 30. So if 32 gives way, so if you lose a 10 EMA, I'd be looking for a scalp at around 30, but that's a bit of a riskier trade because you're preceded by two topping tail candles. We're pausing for a second. We're going to Adair.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know here, SBUX is going to be on watch. Starbucks is kicking off its 2026 annual shareholders meeting in just 10 minutes at 1 p.m. Eastern. Something to maybe keep an eye on or just be aware of if you are trading the stock for whatever reason today. They do have that shareholder meeting, and it is coming up imminently. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. We'll keep an eye, obviously, on Brian Nickel and company. We'll see if he has any new announcements, about how they want to move the needle. I remember they're employing Project Green Apron, where they were kind of trying to decrease the wait time that customers were waiting. I know that that's been a problem for them for a while. I mean, anybody goes to the mall and you try to get a Starbucks coffee, especially if it's not like a blonde, dark, or Pike, and you got to wait for it at the counter, you're waiting like 5-6 minutes, right? So, I think, they could do a little bit of a better job. Shout out to them. RMSG back into 65, Assassino. We're looking for 64.25. We're short RMSG, looking for the loss of 65. There's been a lot of buying at 65, and we can't shake the buyers, Joey. They're stepping in at 65, multiple attempts. The only thing keeping me kind of motivated about this are the umpteen amount of lower highs that we put into the 65 flat bottom. How's the gym, Katina Man? Good, brother. Katina Man's back from the gym. He's all amped up. He's looking good. Healthy as always. What are you looking at, Joey?
Brother, I'm all smart, so I cleared out all my keys. Smart route now. Smart route now. Everything. Let's test one out here for the folks back home. Let's see if this works.
All right. So oh, no?
No.
No, it didn't work?
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Rejected order. Once again, maybe we'll go over some Frex and see what we got going on. Smart. Why didn't that work? I'm curious. See if it works like this. I don't know. Rejected order. Why? I don't get it. Why is it? Okay, so yeah, I mean, well, Joey option is smart. Hell yeah, I don't know about that, Scott. I mean, we wanted to get some out there at 60s, got rejected order, and then sure enough, we got to switch everything. I think Frex might be the way to go, so let's clear everything out one more time and see what we got going. We could do it live. I cleared all of them out because, again, I'm over just that consistent rejected order. That should not happen on that liquid of an underlying. So what was I sitting on the NASDAQ here? Oops. On the NASDAQ, we cleared everything out, and then I went over to smart routing, which should get you involved, but unfortunately it just didn't work. So maybe we'll have to just clear everything out once again and see if we can find something. Frex was working really good for us, so we can set up something on that front. But we're starting to get somewhat of a rebound here. Silver has been too choppy for me to re-engage on that one. We had the nice short on IBIT not too long ago, and then we waited for that pullback and that bounce off of VWAP. And it's just, that's eating me alive right now, just trying to get some off at that 60 mark, and then it just comes back in. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to take a full stop on this, considering I was risking half of the day there. So we took half, and we took just a small hit, so nothing substantial. And we'll continuously look for the next opportunity that arises. Now, is this the curl over? I like it because we've had a couple bar pullback, right? And then now we're trading back above VWAP. Not a crazy base or anything along those lines. This is going to be a key level right at that 40-50 mark. And if we can break through that, then maybe we'll get somewhat of a recovery here in IBIT. I do like the entry there because at the break of that pivot, we're out of that. I like that it just didn't work out this time. Yeah, I like exactly. That's just the nature of the beast. To be honest with you, it just didn't work out that time, which is totally fine. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay, I think I might have figured something out. We don't really necessarily want it to go on the MMs, the dark pools. No. So what we'll do is we'll pull it up here again and see if we can just change the destination, I believe, on this one and see what we can get going there. And over to NASDAQ, we'll do it live, actually, because we're not hiding anything along those lines. And if you guys are curious about the orders, you gotta mess around with them. Edge, I know a lot of individuals like using that one. We're gonna try this smart routing. We'll go back to the buy, dark market. TV WAP work. What does that even mean?
Got it, Joey.
All right, I don't think that should happen. So maybe we'll have to switch it up and just go over to Frex. I'll mess around with that a little bit more on another time. So other than that, guys, I'm just relaxing, waiting for a high quality opportunity. 5-minute print is pretty good at VWAP. So I want to try to engage on this one and see if we can get that rocking and rolling. Moving forward, let's go back over to the Mag 7 and see how they've been performing here today. How's NVIDIA been? We know that it's been consolidating south of the volume-weighted average price. Apple, how are you doing? Nice pullback to VWAP, bounce off of it. Not quite to the high of the day. That's a key pivot. But look at the selling pressure on those on that 10-minute candle right here. So 5 minutes at the opening drive, first 5-minute candle, boom, to the downside there. Microsoft was relatively weak here today and hasn't found much of a rebound. Right, so you're getting that level of 370, you bounce off of it, but the buying pressure seems relatively weak. So maybe we'll avoid that one there. Meta, nothing all day. We'll head over to the daily and see what we got going over there. Yeah, earnings report flush up to 744. You're now trading about $55 from that specific level. How much are we down from a percentage standpoint from that previous pivot high? 797 to where we're currently trading. That's 24%. I mean, if we go back to Microsoft, wow, it's putting in a new low. What don't they like about this name? Is it Copilot? Is what they got going on with Sam Altman?
Oh,
I just don't understand why it's really getting damaged. 33% on Microsoft.
And OpenAI are liking each other less and less and less almost on a daily basis.
Do you think that's weighing the stock down 33%?
I don't think it's single-handedly the reason, but I think Luis is here. One second, Assassino. I think that the $270 billion.
CapEx?
Yeah, well, not CapEx, but. That's Microsoft's investment.
The stake,
Because we were talking
about 27% of OpenAI.
We were talking about OpenAI at a trillion, were we not? I think 3 or 4 months ago. Now we're talking about a little bit less.
So does the narrative? So does the narrative change on this thing when OpenAI IPOs and then it decides to rip? Whatever, we'll say 50% out of that.
I would say so if it does well, but I mean the market has to reward it in some way. Just 1 second.
Yeah, let's pull Luis in here.
Yeah, let's get Luis. I'm all ready for the lesson because he has actually a really good platform. It's called it's his basically company Academia Day Trading, and he has his intranet. And remember, he gave us a bit of a lesson about how to use it, especially for the quantitative stuff, the odds of something closing red or green. So I'm super pumped, guys. There he is, Luis Barbado. Luis, you would be proud of me today. I don't know if you were watching, but I did short RMSG into VWAP. It took a couple of tries because initially I got in and I was thinking we definitely had a 70 seller, Luis. We ended up breaching the 70 seller, moving back into 73. That's where I got short again, where the volume weighted average price is. We took it down to 65, but that pesky buyer who keeps buying at 75 kind of put a damper on my short party, but I don't think this one is done quite yet. I know you were talking to me in the chat about RMSG as well.
Yeah, I think you did pretty good. A few things to talk about in this one. First of all, don't short it on the way up because it's a bit price non-compliant. So the stock has several days to go over $1. So don't short this front side right in front of the dollar because the probabilities that goes over the dollar to avoid this compliance, the NASDAQ regulations, were very high. Once it fails, as you can see here in the chart, once it fails the 90 cents or $1, whatever, you can short here backside with a very tight stop. Or if you miss this one, you can just short here, perfect VWAP short, as you did. You have to trust in this trade. Your risk is a little bit higher, but I think it's an all-day fade. You should hold until the closing level.
Yeah, I like how you use price non-compliant. I like that because I've never had a definition for that, but that's exactly how I feel about some of them. They don't respect technical areas of support and resistance. They'll breach through them, right? And, kind of looks like an oscillating wave sometimes, that's really well put. I tried one on SIDU. I should have taken your advice on this one. This one was a bit tougher for me anyway in terms of the short. I went against my instincts here, Luis, and let me explain my theory. So when we lost VWAP, we breached VWAP, then we dropped back down. So I said, all right, well, there's the failed reclaim of VWAP. This is a good entry. So I got in at about 85. I gave it to 88. What, I went against my instincts was the higher lows. We kept putting in higher lows, and it really wasn't looking at VWAP as an area of support and resistance. What it was respecting was the higher low pattern. So I did stop out above the candle high at 1155, which is about 288. So I ended up taking a bit of an L on that. But is that something that you look at as well when, the higher lows seem to be operative in the short, even though you're kind of moving back into that VWAP area?
Yeah, two things here. First of all, if you see the overall chart a little bit more to the left, you see some what I call cooling here. You see many days cooling the stock, like reversing the trend. And today we were breaking this very important resistance. So if you're seeing breaking this resistance, I'm not thinking about short. Okay, first thing. Second thing, the movement up was with very light volume, and the level 2, there was no noise, as we call it. So it was only going up, no sellers at all. So if I don't see this fight between buyers and sellers, I avoid to short it because, it's like blind forecast that is going to stop. Why are you going to call the top? So we were waiting for the backside. The problem here is that I don't like the overall picture. When I look to the left, I don't like the overall picture. And second, if you see here, it's better on the P Pro. You can see here, let me see if it holds. Now, you see here, the volume drops a lot, like radically no volume at all, but the price is holding. That's very bad sign for the short. So here I see more likely a VWAP reclaim, we call it. Reclaim the VWAP and we go against to the highs because the full context of the movement and the low volume but holding lows.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, Luis, let's get right into it here. UGRO. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on with this name. And no, but in all seriousness, looking for the momentum play, a late entry and a chase on my behalf. Am I classify myself as a small cap individual? Absolutely not. But nonetheless, a trade is a trade, regardless of the name or the number beside it. Now, I want to know exactly how you were playing this trade, and you brought out a very good point to me at that $16 mark. Why don't you break it down how you potentially seen the short here in UGRO?
Well, here, first of all, I didn't play it at all because first, the movement was too sharp on the upside, and I'm not brave enough to jump so late into the momentum. I'm not good at it. I admire Sharif, how he jumped in this $11 and $12 consolidation, $13 consolidation. I'm not that kind of trader. I need more tight, risk reward. So I'm very bad doing this kind of long, so I didn't trade it, first of all. We couldn't short it. We couldn't. You have to pay like $20 per 100 shares short locate. So it was, if you see the movement, okay, it's not that much, but if you, let's say you want to buy 500 shares, it's like $100 bill. So, sometimes it's a little bit tricky. It was worth it if you are waiting for the resistance. And when you jumped in, and I looked the chart to the left, as I usually call it, and I saw this resistance. So I thought, okay, he's chasing too late, with the momentum, with the euphoria, you chase there a little bit higher. But tight stop is okay. You can miss this trade, is fine. Now, of course, if the locates were not that expensive, we will short this one because it seems it's on the backside now. Also, very important, is a nano float. Okay, 700,000 shares, so very, very, very tricky.
Perfect stuff. So another question here regarding the actual locates of this underlying. Does that have any correlation on with how much the volatility is stepped within it? So what I'm getting at here essentially is it was up 110%, and due to that that very wide range in which it traded from an intraday standpoint, is the locates priced into that volatility? Is that why it's so expensive to trade these names?
Well,
question, bro.
I'm not into the business, but I guess it has to do with several things. First of all, very, very low float, 700,000 shares. So what broker has this company to borrow you, you know? There's almost no flow to locate, so it's more expensive. And second one, the brokers see the volatility, and I guess they think, you know what, if you short here, you're gonna make a lot of money if it goes all the way down to $7 or $5. So they are more, you know, in the right to charge you more for the locate. So I think float and you know, availability of these shorts and volatility, it's what it define the price of the locates, I think.
Perfect. And final question here, just regarding this same name. On the current trajectory that it's on, do you see this downtrend continuing, and then the potential break of the volume-weighted average price keeps knocking on the door of this trend? It keeps rejecting. From your experience, do you believe that you're going to get a sustained breakdown, considering you're up over 100% here earlier in the day?
Pretty sure today and tomorrow we will see this stock probably in $7, $5, $4, $3, whatever. You never know. All the way down, probably, yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
We got to get to super chat. $10 super chat for you, Luis, from Zion Lala. So we just have to talk about this quick. Always great to have Luis B. Question. In situations like short squeeze, do you wait a day or two to short? And Roma, spread is like 40 to 60 cents. Is that not good when you short? What are your thoughts on that, Luis?
First of all, about short squeeze, and it's very good sample today. We had one, and I want to give a shout out to one of our traders here, because sometimes we find the best setups, not the day that the stock is in play. And if you check this BF, we've been trading for the last couple of days. You see, it was a huge movement up, few days in a run, and today no one was looking this one, and it is built what we call a first red day. No one is looking this because we have UGRO, we have SIDU, we have RMSG, so the attention shift to another stocks. He sorted here this one 480, 470s when the VWAP broke all the way, all day fade probably will call below 370, 360, 340, whatever. It's a second day play or third day play. It's called first red day. So sometimes if you see a very big short squeeze, as you see here, wait until the attention shifts to another stocks, and then you can short it with a very tight stock and better expected value. So the winning ratio and risk reward combination is much better this day than this day, where you have no stops. You can short here against the 5. You're risking 20 cents to make $1, $1.5.
That's fantastic setup, Luis. All right, I got it on the screen. Can we, there we go. All right, Luis.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So take me through. So, Luis, I wanted to ask you about the statistics. So remember how you were taking us through that last time, and you were telling us basically, you know, most of these small cap gappers, these smaller cap names, they have an 80-some-odd% chance of closing red on the day. That's why, you know, it makes more sense to short these at, you know, technical levels, of course, not just willy-nilly. So take us through some of the options that we can use here.
Well, here you have several tools. We can divide it by two, the market statistics or the market analysis and the trader analysis. You will have also available this trader analysis very soon, and I will teach you and go through what all you can check, the chart executions, the statistics of your own trading and so on. You will have this very, very soon, I promise. But so far you have the market statistics, which could be market analysis and a screener. Okay, if you click in a screener, we have developed this screener exactly for what we are looking for, okay? And you have here like moving up with a new high of the days, or moving up without making high of the days, the halts, the pre-market movers, like a lot of things. And what you're talking about, the market, the quantum analysis, let's say quantitative analysis, is you click in the stock, okay, it gives you how many gaps have since 2020 and how many of them red close probability. So 8 over these gaps closed red during the day, for example, in this stock. And also, sorry, I go back here. And also you have all the gaps and the performance of these days. So if you click on wherever, 30th of June of 2025, you go there and it loads you directly the chart of that specific day, which is very, very useful to see what happened that day, right? And also in the screener, if you just put the mouse on it, you have everything, all the data you need: float, institutional ownership, the country, the market cap, all you need to have an overview of the stock. You know?
That's amazing. That's actually excellent. So I just want to show our viewers this one more time. So for example, I click IXHL right there, and then I have all the different days that this was gapping up. For example, December 3rd of last year, the pre-market volume was X. The volume on the day was such, it gapped up 23.2%, but look at the day fade. It ended up dropping 9%. This is fantastic data to have.
And click on the day. Click on the day.
Click on the date.
It will load you the chart of that day.
Give me a second here. So, okay, I'm clicking it, but it's not going.
No, look, I'm sorry.
There we go. It just moved. I just had to restart it again. Give me 1 sec, because it's taking a second, but I did see it there. There we go. Okay, double click on the side. Can you do it on your side there? Because I've got it on. Yeah, go ahead.
If I click the day, it loads exactly. You see?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Another one. There you go. It loads you. Hold on, what's on here? Now.
Yeah, there we go. I've got it on my screen.
It's loading. Yeah. It's because all the Zoom call and everything is very slow, but it will load you exactly the movement of that day, so you can see if there is a pattern of what time, what part of the day start to fade, what part of the day is more momentum on the upside.
This is excellent stuff, Luis. I'm going to have to use this every day. I'm going to have to put this as part of the rotation over here. Fantastic stuff, Luis. Thank you so much for being on, Luis. Really thank you for coming on, and thank you for participating every day. And thank you for giving us different insight into trading these small cap gappers. I know it's helped me for a fact. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thank you to Luis. I want to take a moment here to go over a new story with Oracle ORCL, and I've actually had the time to read through this so I can give you guys a much fuller picture, which is nice here. This came out around 12 minutes ago, right at 1 p.m., started circulating a couple minutes after. So long story short, the Washington Examiner is reporting that a watchdog organization by the name of the American Accountability Foundation has sent a letter to the Pentagon, specifically the Inspector General here with regards to the Pentagon, because they want an investigation into a now terminated contract with Oracle that they believe was grossly over budget and lasted years longer than it was supposed to. So apparently, during Trump's first term, they started this Defense Civilian Human Resources Management System program through which Oracle was involved. This contract was terminated last year, so it lasted 7 years, but it was supposed to be a one-year effort for $36 million. Again, Oracle actually made it last 7 years, and the contract came in more than 700% over budget. So Oracle accused of gross financial mismanagement here. Again, a watchdog group asking the Pentagon to look into this contract, even though, as mentioned, it has been closed for about a year. ORCL did get a little bit of a spike up and then down on this right now, kind of oscillating. But either way here, it looks like potentially more issues for ORCL. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Interesting take there on Oracle, guys. Keep your eye out on that. Great reporting there. I want to mention a couple of things, guys. Here we go. So first and foremost, UGRO's breaking trend. Now, this can be one of those ones where it sets up beautifully and it doesn't make a lower high. I feel these trend breaks have been making lower highs as of late. $15, watch out for that move into $14.50, $15, and then a lower high. If it does that, it's probably a short off that level with maybe VWAP as your target. UGRO is breaking trend, number one. Number two, you're getting failure here on SATL. Flat bottom break manifesting through that low. I want to say, definitely VWAP was an area of support. You can see a lot of the wicks defend the volume weighted average price at around 620, but you're getting failure. You're getting it in spades. You're also losing 6. So that even that whole dollar psychological level is also giving way here on SATL. This one's bleeding its own blood. 10.70, 10 3/4. It's still up on the day. Watch out though for general support at 6. This could pop back up. Maybe test 6, 10, 15, 20 in and around that level. Look for a lower high and then a possible entry into SATL, but this one is losing the bid in a hurry. Guys, UGRO is still holding up here, man. This could be very interesting. Last but not least, LUNR. I gave you guys this one. This is the volume weighted average price retracement into 2060. You got money on this one. It popped back into 2120, so that's over $1. But here we go again. It is yet another lower high, and it is making a move below VWAP again. So that's lower high, hold, lower high, or sorry, area high, hold, lower high, and now it's failing. This could be a big short. Here comes 2050. This is a general area low. We're certainly below this triple bottom that we put over here from 12 o'clock into 12:10. We're losing it. We're coming into that $0.50. That's LUNR. So it's also losing the bid. Last but not least, before we go to your boy Joey options, RMSG, I stopped out at 71. I wasn't going to allow this to go against me at all. It's also putting in higher lows, but it's also got lower highs. So it's a compression pattern below VWAP. I still have a feeling by the end of the day, this one loses 65 pennies. I change that opinion, though. If it gets above VWAP at around 75, I'd have to change my opinion, because then it would be trying to make another move here into 80 and possibly even more. So RMSG still in focus here, Joey. But what I really wanted to kind of stress to everybody is UGRO is making a move, and it's about to breach prior bar high. Prior bar high is 1431. Here's 29. I've got a bias that if this one rejects 15 to about 1550 and makes another lower high after that, that it's probably a short at least to 12. But it's going to have to do that first. What do you got, brother?
So yeah, I was just working on some new hotkey configurations there. This one worked out. We got a small scalp on NVDL, came back in, we get out break even, and then I'm looking to re-engage because there's a support level as the market's heading a little bit lower, strong in the morning, but then starts to pull back here. Steady downtrend after we've peaked out at 1050. So throughout the whole day, it's just been a steady move lower and lower. And Bitcoin, no follow through. And it's funny because I was mentioning earlier, I was like, hey, every pop or volatility spike, whether it be to the top side or to the downside, eventually just gets faded. So no one re-engaging in this. So a nice move to the up to 4060s, and then eventually you just come right back in, and no buyers have stepped back in to IBIT. So you're gonna have to go with the flow with that one. Maybe you head a little bit lower and into that $40 mark, and that's the narrative I'm gonna go with here on NVDA as well too. Is like, hey, maybe we break some of that volatility and we head into that 178 mark. And there's nothing from the options chain that I've said, hey, we're not going this high, but we just want to go with the flow on this one, Adara.
I'm just mentioning it here because USO is pushing into high of days, but I am seeing a joint statement from some Gulf states, including Kuwait, UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Jordan. They're calling on Iraq to take necessary measures to stop attacks launched against these neighboring countries from Iraqi territory. So again, just commentary here from these Gulf states. Reportedly, according to Al Jazeera, they're also considering alternative solutions should the Strait of Hormuz remain closed. If I get any details on said solutions, I will keep you posted. Back to you.
That we were talking to you guys about, you know, some of the cultural similarities between some of the cultural groups in Iraq and Iran. The majority of Iraqis are actually Shia Muslim, which is basically the predominant religion in Iran. They speak Arabic in Iraq as opposed to Farsi, but there has been that cultural connection. We saw it basically through the 2010s. Remember, what's that guy, Muqtada or Sadr or whatever his name was? Shia Iraqi cleric. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Iran, you know, tries to maneuver some of their militia from Iraq, but we'll have to wait and see. Joey, you ready to start the news?
Yes, sir. Well, right. I mean, yeah.
UGRO is going. I see it, Scott. I've got my side chart up. Let's talk a little bit about Meta. So they had a bunch of headlines today. The first one is about the jury verdict yesterday in New Mexico. Meta was found liable by a jury for violating consumer protection laws tied to child safety on its platform. They were hit with a $375 million fine in civil damages. The prosecutor was actually looking for a number exceeding $2 billion. The jury came back with $375. Jury found Meta, quote, willfully violated unfair practice law. Meta plans to appeal the decision, meaning this becomes a multi-year overhang rather than, you know, just being resolved now and moving on. Obviously, it has larger implications, as there's a lot of these cases going around the country. Guys, UGRO is making a move here. It's breached prior bar high. It's coming into 15. If you guys are looking to trade, UGRO needs to be in focus, but careful with 15 to 1550 for a lower high. High day 1669. So the case centered on claims that Meta failed to protect minors from predators on Facebook and Instagram. The state investigation used a fake 13-year-old profile that was quickly targeted with explicit content as well as solicitations. Internal documents revealed that concerns about encryption also reduced the visibility into about 7.5 million abuse reports. So people using VPNs and other things to kind of mask their identity. This report is saying 7.5 million. Geez Louise. Prosecutors frame this as profits over safety. That's their framing. The case does highlight, though, and it signals a shift, that courts now are also targeting product design, not just user content that's put onto the platform. That bypasses the Section 230 defense that these companies have been relying on, I think, for like the better part of 20 years. Also, potential copycat lawsuits also remain as a legal overhang for Meta. Upcoming second phase, May 4th, could force Meta to publicly fund safety programs as well as implement some of these structural changes. So it's not just about paying a fine. They may actually have more to do here if they're court mandated. The broader industry risk, though, is the Snapchats, the TikToks, the YouTubes all get hit with similar litigations and possibly similar results. Legal experts are kind of comparing these social media kind of lawsuits to the 1990s litigation with the tobacco companies, and there are parallel cases ongoing. There's one in LA, there's another in federal courts, so we are by no means done this whole thing. We're gonna pause for a second. We're going to Adara.
Sharif, we actually just got the LA verdict. So we had heard reports we were going to get that verdict. I actually dropped it in the chat. Well, Elise was there. We had the verdict. We didn't know what it was. Looks like both Meta and Google have, in fact, been found liable by a jury in the second social media trial. Again, this one had to do with social media addiction, and it was in LA. The verdict is still being read. So all we know right now, Meta and Google both liable. Back to you.
That, yeah, perfect timing. Guys, UGRO is doing what I suspected it was going to do. There's the move into 15, and there's the move down. Now, be careful here. If this breaches prior bar low, which is, let me see, sorry, the low of the prior bar. I'm talking about the 115 bar on the 5, 1393. This current bar, 1409 low. It's got a higher high and higher low, but my suspicion was it would move into 15, 1550, put in that lower high, then drop. Be on the lookout for that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but you need to be alive for the lower high. Joey, what do you think about this Meta story?
Yeah, I think it's. I think it was favored in the right decision, to be honest with you. I don't believe that this stuff is not addictive. It is highly addictive. I'm just reading more on this a little bit here. I think, so I watched a documentary the other day. It's called The Rage Machine, essentially based off of social media and how Meta was ranking its priorities. And you know how Zuckerberg went through that kind of that phase where he's like, hey, we're going back to our original form. We're going to eliminate kind of that filtering through. Yeah, and they had their priority kind of spectrum where it's like, hey, what are we going to prioritize for something that may cause harm to other individuals? Sure. And if you go through what he was going as P1, P2, and P3, some of the priority list was actually shocking. He would put, so yeah, it was extremely shocking. So there was an image of a politician with a pig as a head or something along those lines, and then there was explicit videos of a minor. What one was ranked higher in priority?
No way.
Yeah, exactly.
No way.
Yeah, 100%. So it's. You cannot deny the fact that the Reels, regardless if it's on TikTok or if it's on Snapchat or if it's on Instagram, is not addictive. Why? Because it's continuous dopamine hits and it's showing you what you want. You scroll through something, if you watch something multiple times, it will give you more content correlated with that. So I think that was a rule in the right decision, in the right direction. Yep. And I honestly believe that we need to take more approaches like Australia, giving those age limits and eliminating social media for younger children, because it is.
You're seeing that already,
from my age to now.
Yes, sir.
Social media and kind of that Instagram lifestyle has such a drastic effect on individuals' mental health.
I don't disagree with anything you just said there. Adira, give us your take on this Meta story.
My take here is more kind of just, I'm really curious as to what kind of precedent this is going to set going forward, right? And clearly it already has. But here's the thing, too. These trials are not necessarily about exactly the same thing, right? Like there was child safety with regards to New Mexico. And then today, you've got social media addiction, which makes me think if you've already set potentially, or sorry, not already set, if you've already had potentially precedent-setting verdicts in like two fairly different types of cases, how bad is this going to get for META? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think the stock could maybe Zuckerberg for a while here, just as we react to this news. And you know, in fairness, like neither Google or Meta really reacted too much to this verdict, but it is interesting that it came during the open session. I want to see some more details, but again, apparently the Google verdict specifically had to do with the fact that they were found liable for failure to warn about YouTube's dangers. That was for this social media addiction trial today. So yeah, I think we're probably going to get more verdicts, and I think more often than not, they're probably going to be siding against these companies because once that Pandora's box is opened, can you close it? I'm not entirely sure. I think a lot of it does have to do with reputation of the company too, right? And reputation obviously a little bit tarnished. MOS on watch here as well, not related to Meta or Google. Paradigm reporting that there's a potential takeover here. You could potentially see takeover for MOS. Paradigm believes that, hey, MOS could be a Trump buyout target or Trump, era buyout target. So they're recommending long-dated calls. So again, Paradigm recommending MOS because they think this could be a takeover target. Back to you.
Meta is getting a price spike up thanks to the OG Darwin. Yeah, through 600 it goes. I still think it's a little range-bound Darwin, but your point is very well taken. Guys, this is what I meant on UGRO. This is literally what I meant. I've been seeing a lot more of this. These were really good. These trend line breaks for a pop-up, but now they're looking only scalp related. You get into 15, you lost prior bar low now. Now, it's not the end of the matter, right? So that's one step for the short. Now you need to lose 13. So if you're getting in here, your stop needs to be above 15, above this prior bar, but you should be looking for 13 and then looking for 12. 13, an obvious area of support. We held it here, and then VWAP. So this is kind of what I meant by UGRO. Keep your eye on that one. As Luis told us, though, it's quite expensive to find locates on this. So that's for us. And I'm assuming if it's going to be expensive for us, it's going to be expensive for you guys as well.
Dude, Bailey Buttons, don't do that. I want to go through some of these comments. The Lord of the Sword says good music is addictive. Let's have the government control that too. I mean, okay, I see where you're getting. We are addicted to trading. How is that different?
I'm actually not addicted to
pardon
trading.
me?
I'm not actually addicted to trading.
I mean, exactly.
No, I don't
think.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know.
What does that mean? Oh, sugar. Oh, yeah.
Caffeine. Life is full of addiction, so what does that mean? Is it fair for Zuckerberg to...
I get what he's coming at. He's more laissez-faire.
Like
he doesn't want the government getting involved in his life. I couldn't sympathize more with that. I do have an exception, though, when it comes to children.
Yeah.
Because they're not as discerning as adults. They obviously don't have the same self-control. Their brain hasn't developed yet. So I'm willing to treat adults a little bit differently, obviously, than children. I don't want the government in my life, and I don't want the government in my pocket. Those are two things that I don't like.
The self-discipline isn't there for people with developing brains still.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you, Assassino. There we go. All right, let's go to Beaking. I'm going to have to hit that for you, man. That was funny. I like it. Shout out to Why Not. Let's go on here. Meta bets big on AI talent retention. So Meta apparently is rolling out aggressive stock option packages to top executives to kind of retain their leadership. Some of the key names, the CFO, Susan Lee. We got the Chief Technology Officer, Andrew Bosworth, CPO, Chris Cox, and Chief Operations Officer, Javier Olivier. We're going to pause for a second. We have more Meta news.
Yeah, it's interesting, Meta spiking higher here. I've looked to see if there's any other headlines here. I haven't found them yet, but I do have more details in this jury verdict. And the reason I'm surprised by the Meta spike is because of what I'm about to tell you guys. So again, the jury in this LA trial on social media addiction has found Google and Meta liable for negligence and failure to warn about YouTube dangers. It seems like, again, they're mostly emphasizing Google with this YouTube thing, right? So they said Google's liable for YouTube, and then Meta is also liable. So again, verdict emphasizing, I guess, liability of Google here rather than Meta. Now, apparently $3 million in damages have been awarded. Meta's going to be paying 70% of that $3 million bill. Google paying 30%, according to reports I'm seeing. Also, USO here. I just got a headline from Al Jazeera on Iran. The Iran Revolutionary Guard claiming that their air defenses have struck a F-18 fighter jet from the U.S. Back to you.
That I can believe a little bit more than the F-35 because the F-18 is not stealth. It's an old one. It's what we have here, Katina, man. Yeah, he's not going to like it, obviously, because it doesn't look good. We'll find out, guys. We'll keep you guys apprised. Oh, no, he's back. Adam James abroad with a 10-banger. I spend more of my life with Trader TV Live than anyone, even my beautiful wife. Y'all have big hearts, great content, and are awesome people. Thank you, brother. So are you, man. But I learn from y'all and the viewers every day. Long live Trader TV. What a guy, bro. What a guy, man.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you do technically spend more time with the individuals you work with than you do at home.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, you spend like 8 hours here at least, more, right? Yeah, 5 hours. That's a good point. You're like,
well, I mean,
what,
wait,
6, 7?
7:30 till 4. I'm with her from like 5. It's pretty close. It's pretty close, man.
He's talking to the Katina man over there. Shout out to Adam, man. We appreciate you, Adam. That's very kind of you, man. Other Zinc bringing a good point. Sharif, you must limit your children. They aren't the parents. You're absolutely right. I'm not saying the parents don't have a part to play in that. Of course they do. I'm just saying, you know, when it comes to, you know, viewing adults as children, I don't necessarily feel that is the right move.
Scott.
Exactly. You don't sell cigarettes to children. You don't sell cannabis or alcohol to children. There's obviously things that adults do.
Don't do that.
All right, let's move on.
Hold on 1 second. Scott H, buddy.
Huh?
Listen, I would take your advice, but in your page on your channel here, it looks like you're drinking Coors Light. I don't take advice from people who drink Coors Light.
All right. All right. Whoa. Calm down there at 888. You're going to catch hands.
What's he doing there?
Okay, so let's continue on with this Meta compensation story. The option comes with high strike prices. So we were talking about their leadership getting these options, these stock options. Well, they're pretty lofty, guys. So a lot of them have high strike prices as well as 5-year timelines. The first payout will require Meta stock to hit $1,116, which is about an 88% move from yesterday's closing price. Some higher tranches, much higher. Of course, this probably will be split adjusted. The top tier of the stock options values Meta at $9 trillion. So the stock price would have to be $3,727, clearly aspirational as a target, but I wouldn't say beyond the realm of possibility. Meta, though, is lagging its peers like Alphabet in AI-driven stock performance. Llama 4, the release of that open source, pseudo open source API, LLM was underwhelming. The company also signaled their urgency vis-a-vis how much CapEx they want to spend on AI in 26, which is about $135 billion. Joey, this is an interesting take here from Meta. These are lofty targets.
They are extremely lofty targets. But one thing that I'll say is that if you're going to be spending all of this money, you're going to want to see some form of a return on investment. Now, is this thing going to trade up 500% in the span of what we're in 2026, 5 years? I don't know, man. That's going to be crazy, but anything can happen. How long did it take for them to, I guess the road from where they were at the beginning of an IPO to a multi-trillion-dollar market cap name for 1.47 is a little bit longer, but if it takes a significant amount of time, how are you going to 5x in a fraction of that time? So I don't know if that can happen, but anything can happen at any given point. These guys come out with something stellar. They find a way to monetize. They can hold on to their margins, considering we know that their digital ad revenue, high margin business. Can they reflect that in other segments? Does Reality Labs pick up steam, or does he drop it all together? I don't know. What is Zuck going to do to reach that specific target? I think that's a little bit of a push, but if you're going to bet on yourself, why not go big?
A good point. Good point. And it's quite motivating, too, for you got to assume for the top level management. They see like, oh, I'm going to invest this much, which is obviously
$9 trillion is crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. But like if we said, you know, 2 decades ago,
$1 trillion,
that
exactly.
NVIDIA would be $4 trillion right now, people will be laughing at us as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, anyway,
but a decade. But he's saying in 5 years.
No, I think that the first thing start vesting in 5 years. I don't think this has to happen within 5 years. So it says the high with a tight 5. Oh, you're actually right. With a tight 5 year
with an aggressive
timeline.
5-year timeline.
Interesting. Yeah,
And
I
how
misread that.
And how long did Elon give himself, or the board give him? It was like 8 years or something along those lines. Adara would know in order for Tesla, for him to get that $1 trillion, right? He has 8 years.
All right, let's go on to the next story. Last one here, I promise. Meta 10 years, she said. Meta deal faces China scrutiny. We're talking, of course, about the acquisition of Manus. So Chinese authorities have barred 2 Manus co-founders from leaving China. The founders were summoned by China's National Development and Reform Commission. The focus appears to be on potential violations of the foreign investment rules. We know that Meta previously announced plans to acquire Manus, which is an AI startup that builds general purpose AI agentic systems, really focusing on agents. The technology is designed to act as digital employees capable of research, automation, task execution, all the stuff we've been talking about lately. Losing or delaying this deal could certainly weaken Meta's hand, and quite frankly, they haven't done that well with their AI rollout, so this would be yet another blow. The deal reportedly was about 2 to 3 billion. We didn't really get the exact amount, which is relatively small compared to what Meta's been spending on, for example, Scale AI. However, strategic value of Manus is quite high, given the shift in the focus on AIs from LLMs to agents. That would probably play well if they can get this right. The Chinese regulator had already flagged the deal earlier this year, suggesting that this escalation was already building, guys. So interesting take here from Manus. Joey, before we go to you, there goes UGRO. It is failing. This is what I was trying to tell you guys. Now, look at the perfect bounce off 13. Watch now for the failure of 13 and a move into 12 into VWAP. UGRO is losing the bid. If this ends up failing 13, this will be a very obvious lower high, and we could be going down even more than 12, guys. I mean, you never really want to start guessing random numbers, but 10, and I want to even say 8.5 to 9. Look at all those pre-market highs that took us into about 8.5 or 9. So especially if it loses 13. Right now, it's finding a bit of a bounce off that $13 level, but there's the 15 rejection, the 13 bounce. Watch for the loss of 13 and then a loss of 12. It could get really ugly here for UGRO. Did you want to?
Yeah, let's head over to the next story here, Sri.
All right, sounds good. All day trade says. Luis, and I couldn't agree more, because it's not going to be a quick move into 8.5 and 9, but keep your eye on that. Let's talk a little Apple. Apple up 1% today. Apparently they're preparing. It always makes me laugh to talk about this, but apparently Apple is preparing a revamped Siri experience, and they're targeting a release this year after multiple delays, of course. The new Siri is expected to resemble a modern generative AI assistant, kind of like a ChatGPT style. We'll see. The plan includes a standalone Siri app, as well as a deeper OS integration via the Ask Siri feature. We'll have to see. It's internally known, codenamed Camo. It's focused on depersonalization using on-device data. We've been talking about these small language models living on your phone and being operated using new silicon, which Apple obviously has done. Siri is expected to handle in-app actions, web searches, multi-step tasks. So, moving beyond just the simple commands of, hey, wake me up here or remind me about this. The emphasis here, according to the report, is on maintaining contextual conversations, which is a key differentiator in the next-gen AI assistants. They're also, though, not doing this alone. They're leveraging Google's Gemini AI alongside their own in-house models. Reports also indicate internal work on a proprietary chatbot called Apple GPT. I don't know if that's the name that they're using. It didn't say it's codenamed internally. But this hybrid strategy of, going about it on your own as well as using Google's is kind of bridging capability gaps externally while building long-term internal AI. They're going to showcase this, apparently, Joey, at WWDC, which is June 8th to 12th. Apparently, at least I hope, for my sake, it's better than the 2024 announcement of AI, which ended up being a complete bust. Here we are almost 2 years later.
Yeah, I think they better hope that it's better. than what we experienced before when they were just continuously Apple Intelligence with the new iPhone 16, Apple Intelligence. No, it has to perform here. I don't know if it's going to hinder the stock, but I think for their own sake, they really want to compete essentially with what everyone else is doing, the hyperscalers. And if they can do so, don't forget they haven't spent essentially a dime. I know they're teaming up with Apple or with Google's Gemini. I think this is going to be a really, really big pivot. If it doesn't come out how kind of investors and the tech heads are looking at, I don't know if you're going to see the same growth within the next iPhone cycle.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
better be good.
It needs to be really good.
There goes UGRO all the way down. It's lost 13 now. The current candle low, 12.75. Guys, earmark that $12 area if this area gives way. So it's given away 13, but it's still holding area low. The low of this area are these three candles here from 12.50 to 1. The low of the 12.77, 12.77, 12.76. So it's essentially a triple bottom at 12 3/4. This current candle low, you guys guessed it, 12.75. That makes it a quadruple bottom. If this gives way, something's going to happen. All right, so that's UGRO. Keep your eye on that. Let's go on to Alphabet. Let's talk a little Google. So Google flat on the day, up 0.15. It's seen better days, and shares have now dropped. What? More than 3%, marking the steep. Oh, yesterday, shares dropped 3% to 290. It's below it right now. It's at 289.62. That marks the steepest single day decline for Google since last June of 25. The stock now sits, well, I don't know exactly right now, but at the time of the writing of this article, it was 17% below the February peak, which peaked into 350. That puts it in a critical zone where, you know, there's technical and psychological pressure that sometimes accelerates selling. We'll keep an eye on that. Joey Opsha and I will go through the technicals. The sell-off is tied, well, you know, these are speculative opinions, to broader U.S. equity weakness and bond yields going up, geopolitical tensions, all the same stuff that we know about. But there's also the rate-sensitive tech names that have been seeing renewed pressure, especially as, you know, investors rotate away from some higher growth, higher multiple stocks. Environment also currently favors defensive positioning, weighing on names like Google. Investors are increasingly focused also on the rising AI infrastructure costs, all that AI build-out, concerns that scaling AI data centers chips could compress margins in the near term. It creates a disconnect where you have strong AI positioning, but uncertain profitability timelines. We'll talk about that. Trump's live. We're going to Adara.
It's not Trump, it's Caroline Leavitt. But either way here, guys, it's worth noting because she just actually announced a date for Trump to go to Beijing to visit with President Xi of China. That's going to be May 14th to 15th. So mid-May, we're supposed to be getting this Trump-Xi meeting. Then President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump are going to be hosting Xi in the White House at a later time. So again, May 14th to 15th is going to be the date, as of right now, for President Trump to go to China. Keep an eye on FXI. It's not really moving too much, but I think this is a pretty big thing to note here. As this press conference or press briefing continues, I'll keep you posted. She just got started.
Going to China.
Going to China now.
He's going to China. Well, it was supposed to be at the end of this month, but he said, you know, that he needed to postpone it because of the war.
Yep.
Let's call a spade. Asia doesn't have the oil supply that it wants because most of the Strait of Hormuz oil goes to Asia. And Japan, South Korea, including China, it's not just higher costs. It's actually getting your hands on oil.
Yeah, I mentioned this before and kind of just using the example of, hey, as Donald Trump was slapping tariffs on everyone and countries find different trade partners, do you think that's going to be the case with oil? Do you think you diversify out of the Middle East and maybe
where are they going to go, Joey? They go to Canada, right? But your friend there, David Eby, or whatever the hell his name is, the premier of British Columbia, is trying to put the kibosh on the pipeline to the Pacific, which would go clearly directly to Asia. Now, Carney may override him on that. We'll have to wait and see. They got to do some more consulting with the indigenous groups in that on the seacoast there. But your boy Carney's trying to get it done. Whether or not he's able to get it done, we'll have to wait and see. But clearly there is a market.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead and comment about Google.
Google?
I'm done, yeah.
I'm going to be honest. If there's a stock that I'm least worried about in the market, it's probably this name. where do I start with it? YouTube. Where else do I go? I mean, there's just a long list. The cash flow, search. Oh, I forgot, cloud. It just has so much going for it. We were talking about this name with the 23 times earnings. It then climbs up 150%. But I also mentioned, hey, regardless of how strong or you may be the best in class or you may have all of these things going for you, regardless if you're the tech ETF essentially under one name, you will pull back essentially. It's pulled off of that 345 high. You're now down to 291. But if you go back in the history of Google, if there's one name that you continuously dip by, in my opinion, it's this name. I just think it's probably.
You love it.
How could you not?
The tech ETF.
How could you not? How could you not love it? But
I didn't like it at a point, but then they changed their tune.
They changed it. Well, they were having obviously the front office issues where they're kind of getting too woke with obviously Gemini and just kind of too much regulation on it, right?
Couldn't review Donald Trump article.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
refused.
Just too much regulation behind it. Things have changed. That narrative has changed. But you just have so many segments within it that are going to continue to grow, right? Like we have Zooks to start with. You have obviously the LLMs. Waymo.
Yeah.
You have the LLMs and everything along those lines. I just think it's really hard. And we talk about too big to fail. Is this name too big to fail? What is the worst thing that can happen to them? The SEC make them
which they said they were not going to do anymore.
But they're not going to do anymore.
Yeah.
And look what happened, essentially, when they're like, hey, you and Apple can still partner up with each other. You have to release certain documents, but be on your merry way, pay each other whatever you want.
Yeah.
Pay Apple to be the primary search engine. And
now you're seeing the other shoes on the other foot now.
Exactly.
Apple using their product,
using Gemini as well, too. So I think that's the right play, in my opinion. You want to allow your strongest players to remain the strongest without breaking them up. And I think that's why Google's going to maybe overtake NVIDIA at one point.
Good take. Give us yours, Adara.
Yeah, I'll talk here about Google, but first I want to mention we did have a little bit of a spike here in the market that was already kind of pulled back to that candle's low. As White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt maintains the U.S.'s position that they have been talking to Iran. They've been holding productive talks over the last 3 days. And she said that Iran is actually open to talks and President Trump is open to engage. Furthermore, she said that apparently the Iranian regime is looking for an off-ramp, to use her words, or an exit ramp in this conflict, and that the U.S. is nearing its objectives in Iran. Let's talk here, though, about Google. Gio, one thing I read yesterday that some people were attributing like almost entirely to this pullback is how Anthropic's been doing better than these Google AIs in terms of like app downloads. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but I think kind of an interesting point to bring up. But one more thing just with Google that I want to mention because I think it's kind of interesting. You've got not one, but two former Google execs that are going to be added to the President Trump's Tech Council, or PCAST, the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. Now, Sergey Brin over here, of course, co-founder of Google, but he's not the only Google-adjacent person who's going to be on this panel. That would be also, where is he on this? John Martinez. John Martinez is formerly of Google's Quantum AI Lab. He was professor of physics at a university, and then that university teamed up with Google for this Quantum AI Lab. I believe he left the company in 2020 because they moved him more to an advisory role. But either way here, I mean, two Google-related people in this newly announced Tech Council. Interesting look here, I think.
David Friedberg's on that. Hey, get it, Friedberg.
I was saying earlier, I wonder how he got on with David Sachs being the co-chair of this council.
Absolute shock. Go ahead, Joey.
And one more thing, if we're going to give ChatGPT this this $1 trillion valuation, what does that mean for Gemini, Google's Gemini? Right? Like, what are we going to value this thing at if it's the more popular
that's a good point, because a lot of people like to do that. They like to do sector valuations, like how much is Waymo worth? How much is Google Cloud worth? So I see your point on that.
Yeah.
Look, my interactions with Gemini lately have been positive. It was not always that way. I find Gemini to be quite useful for up-to-date information because it uses Google search. It indexes all these things pretty quickly. As I said, also for Grok, because Grok uses X. For a lot of its search as well. So I find those to be very accurate for up-to-date information. Doesn't mean that they're the best for everything else.
No, they're not. Like coding, I mentioned you the other day, it's not that great for coding. Image generation, it's pretty good if you have enough tokens and you don't use them all up. But what I had a comment that, So when we first started talking about this, we know that, and you mentioned you weren't in love with Google, right? It was lagging in the LLM thing. But what was really supposed to establish its dominance is just all the data it's had over the years from Google search, right? And then sure enough, we've seen that continuous leapfrog of what are you using, whether it's Anthropic, whether it's Perplexity, whether it's ChatGPT, but then you see this substantial leap coming from Google, and I think that's why it's up there and leading this race and one of the most useful tools right now, and I think it will remain there because they have the resources, and out of all of the other competitors, they have the most data.
I 100% agree with that, and I've always kind of felt that was their moat. They weren't utilizing it in the best way. Now they kind of are.
Exactly, right? Like they opened the floodgates, what allows them to kind of dominate.
Excellent point, bro. I couldn't agree more with that. Let's move on to the next story. ARM up bigly today. Up 18.75%, up into 160, and it's surging after they unveiled their first in-house AI chip, as well as aggressive long-term guidance. We're going to cover both. The move is driven by this forward-looking AI revenue narrative, not near-term earnings, so this is future potential earnings. We've got to stress that. It does position ARM, though, as a direct player in the AI hardware space, and they're not just a licensing and a royalties business as they've been known to be. So what did they introduce? A new AGI CPU. So ARM introduced its first internally developed chip called the AGI, pardon me. I'm assuming that means artificial general intelligence, but I could be wrong. Targeting AI inference workloads. Good niche, obviously, as inference is the new kind of the important part of AI. Training seems to be a thing of the past. The models have already been trained. Now we can use the data through agentic sources. Is designed, for the rise of agentic AI, marks a fundamental shift from the licensing of intellectual property into the selling of full chips to hyperscalers for infrastructure buildouts. It also opens a door to significantly larger revenue capture. If your gross margins with licensing were like, say, 30-25%, now you're selling a physical good in the AI space, you can get 50. And apparently that's what the CFO is guiding. They're guiding 50% gross margins. That's not just on the chip. That's for everything, for the company, which is pretty good. They're projecting revenue to come in the region of $15 billion from the chips, from that AGI chip alone by 2031, with total revenue by 2031 about $25 billion. That does imply a 6 times growth from the $4 billion revenue base that they printed last year in 2025. Citi had some things to say about Citibank. Of course, they called it, quote, the most significant shift in company history, but they see they see the upside outweighing the risk. The key question to Citi analysts are whether customers embrace ARM as a supplier or they view it as a competitor. That's actually quite interesting there, because are you going to have the NVIDIAs buying this from you? Are they going to be looking at you now, including it in the NVIDIA server racks? Or are they going to look at you as a person that's trying to do what they do and then shun you? So that's a pretty good...
It takes some of their market share.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, these guys have some pretty big customers, right? We got, obviously, Sam Altman, who seems to be making deals with everyone here, Cloudflare and SAP, according to the CEO. But what I find really interesting here, Sharif, and I don't know if I love this, but SoftBank holds an 87% stake in it.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
So,
only 10% of the float is tradable.
It's tradable, right? Yeah. So, I mean... I don't know what to say to that, really. It's either it's like, hey, if one institution is holding the majority of this float, do you just go with what, I believe it's Masayoshi's son who runs SoftBank, isn't it? Yes. So it's like, hey, do you just follow what this guy's doing and grab as much of this as you possibly can, because you never know what can potentially happen if it's majority of it is institutionally held.
Oh, yeah.
Do they lose it? Do they lose most of the time? No.
Masayoshi?
Yeah, well,
he's had a couple of L's, but
he took a big loss in Alibaba, I'm pretty sure, way back in the day.
I think there might be some other things as well. I'd have to check.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know if I like it. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest.
That's fair. Okay. All right, Adara, give us the take on ARM.
I do want to talk about RM. I first want to say as well, more comments from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt with regards to Iran. She said that gas prices are going to be going back down. The spike is temporary, similar to what President Trump himself has said. She also said that, yes, they are going to be holding to that 4 to 6 week time frame for operations in Iran, as previously reported and announced. And she also said that Iran has not officially rejected the U.S. 15-point plan yet. She didn't out and out confirm the 15-point plan, but she said there were elements of truth to it. Now I want to talk about ARM, and I'm going to do a little bit of, shameless promo here for TTV Research, because why not? And the reason I say this is because I post every single day at 3 p.m. The calendar for the next section. So Monday at 3 p.m. I posted the calendar for Tuesday, and I actually had right here, you can see it right up here, ARM hosting its ARM Everywhere event starting at 1 p.m. Then I also reposted a couple of minutes before this was scheduled to begin, so everyone would know, hey, ARM on watch. Now, it's funny because a lot of these events you have on here, they're not really going to move the market, but it's always worth it to be aware of these events maybe happening, because, guys, if you don't know they're going to happen, you can be totally caught flat-footed. Like I remember yesterday around 12:54, Neil yells ARM, and I immediately knew, oh, they have an event at 1. It's probably related, so I was on high alert for related catalysts. So this is honestly just letting you guys know, A, definitely feel free to follow us here at X at TTV Research, but B, don't discount these industry events. Because I know we talk about the big ones like CES or Davos or Communicopia, but there are a lot of smaller events held by companies that are certainly going to be of note, and you can track most of the major ones here on X at TTV Research. So again, just be aware of when these companies are having these things, and if you want to be aware, I have a location for you.
Thank you very
One
much
more
for that.
thing here.
Go ahead,
remember, someone mentioned WeWork. Remember what the former CEO of WeWork was doing?
No, forget his name.
I forget his name.
Tall dude.
Yeah, but he essentially was just purchasing.
What's his name again?
Adam Newman. Yeah. So bro was buying real estate.
Yeah, he was.
And then renting the real estate out to the company.
Yeah. No, but it was like he was taking on big ass leases, like he was taking in A+ buildings. Like commercial real estate is not all created equal. There's A, B, and C. And he was taking in A, paying through the roof for some. But have you seen WeWork? Hold on, have you seen WeWork downtown here?
There's multiple.
It's beautiful.
It's
They're
really
amazing.
Nice. They're really nice.
But
really
COVID hit and nobody used
it. There's one on Bay. There's one right on King Street, right across the street from my place, essentially. But that's what he was doing. He was purchasing the real estate on his own and then releasing it to the company. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't actually know
that. Which is crazy.
Ben Zagal, I promised I'd read your take on the moon landing. Yay was saying they canceled the Gateway project, which was supposed to be a space station around the moon. They lost a lot of money on it. Now they're attempting moon base. Yeah, so that space station around the moon, my understanding was that's where like the Earth or the let's just say Starship would dock with that. Then they would take a moon lander from the space station revolving around the moon and then land on the moon with that. It wouldn't be Starship itself or whatever NASA equivalent or Boeing equivalent that would be landing on the moon. So my understanding was that's what they were doing. I guess they're taking a bit of a different approach to it. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really followed up on these, but thank you for pointing that out. DJ Jeski, I work at WeWork and it's amazing. Free coffee, free kombucha and events with beer, etc. Dude, I have no problem with WeWork. I just, clearly it failed as a business model for that time. I know that there were some external events. COVID obviously didn't help. But the market rewards and the market makes you pay.
I swear when I was reading up on this, that Newman's motto was work hard, play harder.
I don't disagree with that. I think a lot of people think that, right? Like a lot of people work hard, play harder. That's like their thing. Let's cover this last one super quick. SK Hynix, not obviously listed in North America, Korean company, but they did file with the SEC for a potential U.S. listing. They're going to list as ADR, so it's not going to be the main listing. Time completion, apparently by 26, still the size and the structure, according to the report, remains flexible. Reports suggest that they're looking to raise about $6.7 to $10 billion. You can do your math there based on current valuations, what you think that would be. The ADR structure, American Depository Receipt for newer traders out there, preserves the existing shareholder value, but may come, with lower liquidity versus a full listing. But, to be fair, there's some ADRs that are quite liquid. Baba comes to mind, as well as some of these other Chinese names. Hynix is a leading supplier, in case you don't know, of HBM, high bandwidth memory, which is super in demand right now because of the global memory shortage with these AI data center buildouts. They're positioning themselves as a key beneficiary of the AI infrastructure buildout, and they're accelerating productions on several major projects. They've got a fab under construction in South Korea, another one in Yongjin, and another one, a packaging facility specifically, though, in Indiana, all of which are being accelerated, with SK Hynix competing with major players like Micron, which is down, by the way, 3.5% today, as well as, of course, Samsung Electronics, a local competitor to them, South Korean company. First mover, though, according to the report, in HBM production, likely to capture an outsized margin because you're going to have the product that everybody wants, and you can give them a supply so you can charge what you want. Thoughts?
Yeah, so the dilution aspect of the IPO, slightly worrisome, but Sharif, I think you'll like this one. So SK recently agreed to buy almost $8 billion worth of EUV machines from ASML.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So
that pleased me greatly.
That's big. That's big. Yeah. Obviously, coming the IPO, going to dilute the shares a little bit, and that's kind of alarming some of the investors.
Works there. You see the time there, Joey?
I don't know what to say to
Might
Katina,
have to multiply that by 2.
Well, I don't know what to say to Katina, man. I don't want to cut into his time. I don't know. I don't want to cut into your time too much there, brother.
All right,
60 seconds.
All right. Have a good night, guys. We'll see everybody same bat time, same bat channel.
I think